Visitors, how exciting!
Yep. Yep. That's right. Mm-hmm. So, question. Does anybody know how to repair a corrupt video file? I lost my recording from yesterday, dude. I lost the entire thing. I'm heartbroken. I'm actually pretty mad. I spent like an hour trying to figure this out last night. God damn it. Hello, welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the VOD. I'll be honest with you guys. I'll be fully transparent because I never want to lie to my guild, my friends. I never want to lie to you guys. This isn't water today. This is Mountain Dew Baja Blast Zero. Oh man, it's a Baja kind of day. Oh well. Oh well. I had physio this morning. I was up exceptionally early. Had physio, arm doing good, doing the things, the exercises, the workouts, feeling good. Kind of just like stumbled home like 10 minutes ago, fell into my stream setup. So we're gonna see what doesn't work today. Okay, oh, I don't even have YouTube up. Jesus, hold on. I don't have YouTube up. YouTube. What the fuck's my channel called? Something about a dumb nerd. D&D art. There you go. That's me. Switch accounts to Evan Blair Art. Oh my god, 10,500 subscribers. Wow, dude. All right, there we go. All right, I have been so in struggle with trying to figure out OBS that I'm even contemplating switching over to the iTunes Stream OBS plugin system instead of Stream Elements. So I got to talk with you about this later, Ashley. We gotta have a little discussion about stream stuff. I gotta get your opinions on some shits. But good morning, guys. Good to see you all. Hello. Hope you're doing well, Brooklyn. Steve, good to see you guys. What's up, Cass? And thank you, Orc Skull, for the raid. I didn't even see that. Shit, I'm sorry. I was scrambling to get my stuff ready, so I didn't even see that. But thank you, guys. If you aren't following Orc Skull, one of the best streamers on the platform, hands down. All right, listen. I don't just throw that out there lightly. Seriously, it's a good time over there. Go follow Orc Skull. Vale's looking great. I appreciate that. Even though I'm not gonna have a fucking video for it. I don't even know what to do, dude. Like the video is just. I'll show you. I'll complain. What's up, Heat? What's going on, dude? How you been? And G-Stone Gaming, thank you for the follow. So this is my recording folder. This is where all the recordings get saved. This is yesterday's thing. Right here. I don't know what to do about it. The recording just didn't work. It just dead. It says maybe unsupported extension is incorrect or the file is corrupt. So I don't know what the fuck, but I'm pretty mad about it. So can you screen capture from the YouTube VOD? I can. The problem is in the past when I've had to do that, first of all, the screen capture that you guys see up in the right-hand corner or the left-hand corner of the screen, that is zoomed in, right? So on my other monitor, the screen capture is like larger, right? So I have the whole video. I just zoom it in so the preview windows, whatever. So I would be missing out on a good chunk of it, for one, doing that. And then also, it's really low res, which really sucks because I'm not important enough for YouTube to output my stream at a high enough resolution. So it doesn't really work. So I don't know what to do, man. If I can't figure out, apparently you can like resave a file on VLC and like convert it, whatever, that'll fix it. Maybe didn't work for me. There's like some software you can download that'll like uncorrupt files, and I'm not exactly sure which ones to get, so I'll figure it out hopefully, and we'll see if we can save the recording, because I really wanted to make a whole video series of each one of the Critical Role characters for this. I want to do one a week until I was done. So it's such a just unbelievable pain in the ass if I can't get this file fixed. I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. Life is decent, missing the Evan fix. Damn, bro. Damn, bro. I'm sorry I've been away. I've been away for 3 weeks almost. 3 weeks? Yeah, right? I think. I don't know. It's been a while. I had some stuff to deal with, some bullshit to deal with, some IRL or whatnot, and people and stuff. So I'm back. I have returned. And I'm ready to go. We're ready to get into this winter training arc. So it's too cold here for Baja Blast. Just feels like going to Baja would be a good idea, though. Maybe for you, Steve. For me, the colder it gets, the more I crave the 7-Eleven Slurpee. I don't know why. I always did that when I was young. If it was cold as shit out, it's like only -8 here. So it's not like frigid, okay? There's still ice in the water in the morning. So you go to YouTube Studio and download it directly that way. Yes, I can, but the problem is even then YouTube doesn't save or output or anything my stream at a high enough resolution. So that's a great idea. If I was more important and YouTube gave me more features and a higher bitrate and things like that, it would work. But since I'm basically still nobody on YouTube, I'm not even in the partner program or whatever. Like all the subscribers I have on YouTube, I think it's like 10,500 and something. They're all from shorts. I don't have a single video, and no one usually watches my live broadcast on YouTube because people watch over here on Twitch. So YouTube doesn't think I'm a real person. Basically, they're like, oh, you're just some irrelevant fucking weirdo that posts shorts. So we're not going to give you any sort of benefit for your stream, unfortunately. That would be the fix, wouldn't it? Is to just go download the video at a higher res and then just like crop it. So I might do that and then just speed up the recording really fast, and it's kind of blurry, but like, you know, whatever. If I kind of, I don't know, make it a really short video and whine a little bit at the beginning of it about the quality, I'm sure it'll be fine. So I don't know. What's up, Moose? Everyone's okay on the other side. Excited for the Evil Evan mustache arc. Really? I don't know. The stream doesn't really show, or the camera kind of washes out, like the way the video captures me, washes out the rest of the shadow, kind of tries to like smooth out your face, right? To like try and hide blemishes and stuff. It's like webcams do that shit and you start realizing what like raw video looks like. So you don't really see the rest of the beard. It's kind of just the very dark but mustache and goatee there. I don't know. Every fall I grow it out a little bit, and I see where we're at beard wise. So I don't know. I'll give it another couple weeks and we'll reach a verdict to see if it looks good or not. Report back in November or later October, whatever. Perfect weather for something cold, exactly. Dixon gets it. Yep. It is balmy 0 here today, so not really anything to complain about except for having to scrape the windows if I go out. That's unfortunate. I had to scrape windows this morning and it was awful because Ella and I had to take different vehicles, and the vehicle that's in the nice warm inside parking stall, well, I left that for her. So, you know, I took one for the team and went to my physio appointment in the frigid, icy, scrapey cold, just inhaling exhaust fumes the entire time. Good morning, Garthan. What's up, Greg? The goatee is definitely more prominent. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it keeps growing in a little bit, because I can't really grow a full beard. I'm not like a man enough to grow a full beard. But I think I might try and do the Robbie Damon. You know, Robbie Damon's got this thing where he's got a bit of a patchy beard. Robbie Damon's got a really nice facial hair, I think. You know, he's got like, he does this kind of like, you know, this like sort of like incomplete beard, but then he's got the mustache and the thing down there, you know. And then so I might try and see if I can do this. So I'll grow this out a little bit and then see if it all kind of fills in or not. And we'll see if I'm a real man this year, or if I still can't grow a beard. So who knows, man? You know, I'm tired of being accused of being a 22-year-old on Twitch. Maybe it's for the best. I don't know. Fun story. I got attacked by a dog last night. What? You got your hand chewed up? What the fuck? You got sick and then dog attack? What the hell? Holy shit, Greg. Bro? I mean, clearly, the question, are you okay? It's fucking no, I'm not okay. Good God, man. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. Hope recovery's quick. Hope everything is good, you know, as far as like just injury returning back to normal. Hope there's no like tendon issues or whatever. So that's fucking wild, man. Oh my god. Because of where we live out in the fucking wilderness, I carry a knife with me every night and sometimes bear spray. Knives are coyote problem fixer. I've never had to knife a coyote, thank God. Never had to spray a bear. Never had to use any of this shit. But it's like commonly accepted where I live that the coyotes get aggressive sometimes. And so you have to carry something on you for that. And, you know, bear spray because black bears wander in. Not really grizzlies here, but once in a while a grizzly will wander in here. But I never had a dog attack me. That's fucking wild, man. That's, jeez, bro. Bro, dude, we got is he left hand or right hand? Wait, can you still game? Is it at least left hand? Because if it's right hand, you can't even game. Bro, that's like not enough, you know? Too much stuff in my garage to fit my truck too. That's, yeah, well, yeah, I see that a lot. You know, the 2-car garage and one half is like fully, you know, packed and the other half just has a little like, you know, outcrop for the vehicle. So every time it gets brought up, bear spray is not like bug spray. It goes in the bear, not on you. Yes, that's right. Some people need to know that, you know? Knife's not enough for a pack of coyotes. Yes, but the thing is, most of the coyotes out here that get aggressive are loners that are like super hungry and starved and stuff. So if your dog's gonna get attacked, like the last maybe 10 times in the last, I don't know, 5 years that a coyote attack has been around where I live, it's always been a single, solo, whatever. It's never been packs, and I never see packs either. I only ever see single ones. You know, we'll go, and they're getting more aggressive, like more bold, I guess. You know, a couple weeks ago, Elle and I are taking Una out, and we're walking, and I see a coyote, but like it kind of freaks me out, and I'm still unsure because it looked like a coyote. As far as like my brain registers, it wasn't a dog, so it's definitely like not a house fucking dog or whatever. But it was so unbelievably big. Now, I've never had a very close encounter with wolves here. We have wolves where I live in the Canadian Rockies. The closest I've ever been to a wolf, I think, is about maybe 200 feet away, and I'm like, oh shit, look over there. That's a fucking doggo boyo. But this coyote had like the silhouette and the size, like it was huge for a coyote. And I was like, is that a fucking wolf? It's not a fucking wolf, right? Jeez, man. And I got a really bad picture on my phone. And I was showing people around here. They're like, that's a wolf, bro. I'm like, no, that's a fucking coyote. That's just a big coyote. So I still think it was coyotes, but not a wolf. But like, yeah, it was on its own. It was like walking up to us. And I'm like, hey, motherfucker, bitch, don't be looking at my 8-pound Morky like a snack. I mean, fair enough. But like, there's a me in between us. Okay. So we're going to have a bad time. So, yeah, pack, no, but single ones, right? I said, don't think I got anything important, which is good. Hopefully it's just some meat damage. Left hand? Okay, great. So we're on for playing World of Warcraft later. Got it. Cool. That's... Damn, Greg. Hope recovery's speedy for you, man. That's rough. But hey, you know, time off, I guess. I don't know. Silver lining, sick days, sick pay, maybe, you know? I had Corland here in Texas, keep a sidearm on me because of the pack of coyotes. Yeah, you know, it's so wild. Like when I talk to a lot of like Americans who are like, you know, outdoorsy type bushcrafters, wilderness folk, and a lot of them don't actually know about our gun regulations and laws in Canada. And you can't carry guns in Canada for any reason, basically, other than like if you're going to go hunt. And like, fair enough, you know, we're not going to get into the fucking, I don't care about anybody's opinion on it, all right? This is an open season for your... You know, all right, let's just chill out. But I will tell my American brothers and sisters that, and they'll say, wait, so what do you do when you're hiking? I'm like, I don't know, bear spray. They're like, but there's grizzlies out there. I'm like, yeah. They're like, you willingly go into fucking grizzly country without any kind of a firearm? I'm like, yeah, you can't carry that shit here. You see a grizzly, you better give a little spray. I mean, grizzlies, they just fuck off. They're, you know, if you go in the middle of summer, I've seen grizzlies. They don't whatever. But yeah, man, you know, you can't carry. So I talk to like people who like go to Montana and Wyoming and go into grizzly country, you know, and they're like, bro, you don't carry any kind of fucking protection against giant 1,000-pound grizzly bears? You know, like, nah, man, nope, just a whole lot of will to fucking not get grizzlied. So yeah, Nope, can't do any of that here. The coyotes, I think maybe the coyotes more aggressive, maybe down there. I heard that the further south you go in North America, the more aggressive coyotes get. I don't know.
Back again. Also,
you know?
Hot Elven Lady, by the way. How you doing?
Yo, dude, thanks for the tier 3. Good God, Sidix, that's a big sub. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. Welcome back to the guild for your 29th month. Yep, finishing this piece today. Little Veilus art from Critical Role before we get into the Merfolk and other cool things, because I am returned back, ready, doing things, you know. You can tell by the head structure. Yeah, it was real dark. So I was looking at the frame in total, but I think the ears were coyote. I don't think wolves go. I mean, technically wolves do go through like where I live, somewhat, you know, not too infrequently, but I've never seen one close to where I live. You know, the only time I've ever seen wolves or hear them, I hear them more than I see them, is when we go deeper into the mountains. You know, deeper, closer to the border. The provincial border, not the national border. See more wolves out there, but they just gotta chill, man. They don't, like, wolves are smart. They don't fuck with anything that looks human-like. I don't think there's been a wolf attack that I can ever remember, honestly, locally. Like, I remember like bear attacks, and the problem with bear attacks at where I live is bear attacks are often, and I hate this. I hate this because it pushes the stereotype problems. But a lot of bear attacks are on tourists, and I hate that. I mean, not that I like, you know, I hate that, like, people like assume then tourists are gonna be stupid and get attacked by bears. But every time there's a bear attack, it's like, oh god, where were they from? Idaho. God damn it. Oh fuck. You know. And it's never like there's never a grizzly attack where it's like, I was walking on the path and I was enjoying the sunshine and then a grizzly attacked me. No, it's like whenever you hear of a grizzly attack, you're like, oh my god, a grizzly attacked a person. What happened? And you're like, well, 2 American tourists followed a mother bear back to her den and poked their head in. You're like, oh, okay. Okay, yeah, you know, that's kind of earned, I guess. Okay, you know, it's unfortunate. It's obviously a tragedy, but, you know, you can at least understand it. And it sucks, man. So, I never hear about wolf attacks, ever. Like, ever. Can't even think of one. Coyotes, they fuck up people's dogs all the time, you know, but no wolves, man. You know, it's a whole thing, so. I don't know, man. Fucking wilderness life here. Next stereotype is they're from Florida. No, I would trust a Floridian. All right, if they're those catfish noodling, alligator wrestling. Oh yeah, no. If there's a Floridian, they'd probably like bear cavalry. Oh yeah, man. You know, they're fucking built different down there. So here's a lot more stupid than they used to be. People are used to read signs. Yeah. No, I don't know what happened, man. You know. Wolf-free country, or wolf-free comments. Yes, exactly. Yeah, Samurai gets it. What's up, Samurai? How's it going? Good morning, man. Most users get attacked in the wilds. They are probably city folk. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, most people are from the cities, at least. So when they venture out into the wilderness to, you know, find adventure and intrigue and whatever. So read the fucking sign. I don't know, man. You know, I don't know. People also, I find, don't carry bear spray with them. You know, I don't know why. I don't know why you go into the wilderness without carrying some bear spray. When Elle and I went out into a hike a little while ago, like well, maybe like a month or 2 ago, actually. It was a while back. We went on a bigger hike this summer and climbed a fucking mountain and then climbed back down. All in one day. It was awful, but it was fun. We were all alone on the path for like good 3 hours. And I was very aware that we had our little Morky, and I had my wife behind me on path. And I'm like, I held on to my bear spray the whole time. I held it in my left hand the entire time we were there because I was very aware that it was very quiet out in the wilderness where we were. So I don't know. There are 2 wolves inside of you. You're a furry. Not today, Ashy. Not anymore. You know why? Because the furries can't afford me. I am now only and firmly planted into the anime category, Ashy, as I only draw anime fan art now, as I did with Stimpak. But then again, Stim's a dragon. So does that make me a scaly? Well, I'll let the internet decide. So, the last bear attacks I recall around here was self-defense. The bear was attacked by a lady with a broom. Ah, yes, that's some grandmother type shit right there. Damn, bro. Critical Role furry D&D or anime D&D? It is absolutely furry D&D. Critical Role has long planted themselves firmly in the furry category. Which you have to pick. If you're a D&D player or a gamer of any kind, you have to pick whether or not you are firmly into the furry category or the anime, the weeb category. D&D, World of Warcraft, franchises I've enjoyed have unfortunately planted themselves firmly in the furry category. Which, oh boy, I did not realize there was such a crossover between the furry community and the book talk community. I had no idea. I'm learning all kinds of shit recently. I've told people that I've like other artists and friends that I am going to this Akotar ball later in the winter because Ella got invited as a vendor to sell dice, and it's at a castle in the mountains, which is really dope. But I've gotten people telling me like, oh, we got to prepare you. We got Evan, you don't know all of the well-behaved, well-mannered, decent book talk girlies in your comments that are defending your right to draw pretty women. They get unhinged at fantasy balls, apparently. All decorum goes out the window. All decency is forfeit. So I have to ready myself. I have to prepare myself. And I don't know if I'm actually going to do any fan art for that. I was contemplating doing some portraits of the 2 sort of main characters in Akotar, but I don't know if I can cross the smut line, man. You know, I don't know if I can do it. I'll have to have some pretty good incentives to cross that line, you know? Be careful, if it's an Akotar ball, it might just be a kink thing. That's what I'm worried about. But apparently this one's like a normie Akotar ball. I had somebody who's a friend who knows more about this scene look into it, and she was like, you know what, I think this one's safe. You should be okay. There's gonna be some fucking weirdo freaks there, but they'll at least have their like their mask of normality at least half on. This isn't like a full mask off kind of event. So hopefully it's all right. All right. If I don't return, just know I'm strapped to the wall of some dungeon somewhere in central Alberta. Just, you know, off in the wilderness, man, you know, under the prairies. I'll never see any of you again. So there are 2 furries inside of you. You rarely have to contact tech support. Wait, what? What does that even mean? What does that even mean, man? I want to see the shenanigans that will go in that castle. Look, the castle itself. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna try. So, all right. Hold on. I need to start my recording process. I uninstalled the plugin that I normally use for recording. Let me just do a real quick test here. I'm using the Stream Elements one now. You record a 5-second clip and see if it saves it properly. Let's see if it works. It seemed to. We're gonna try and record the whole process today. All right, let's see. It's gonna be fun, Greg. At the very least, it'll be a event in the You know, the legendary Canadian Rockies French manor of Chateau de Lac Louise. Sorry, French. Lac is French for lake. You know, a lot of you guys maybe didn't catch that nuance of language there. I had to clear it up for you. So, my boyfriend's little sister's an ACOTAR girl. She's moving states soon, so about her collector's edition of the book to take with her. That's cute. That's cute, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I don't think I can get into the whole romantasy thing. You know, the smut is just a little bit too much. You know, I get it's a little too overt. It's a little too overtly degenerate. There we go. It's kind of like the lewd tubers. You know what I mean? It's the same thing basically. There's not much of a difference actually at all of any kind. So it's just the crowd is a bit much for me. You know. So we'll see how the ball goes. We'll see if I can play nice. You know. Not sure how men get treated at fantasy balls. I've heard to be on my guard. Actually, I've heard from, as I said, that one friend that did some investigation for me. She said Ella might sell less dice if they find out that she has her husband working there with her. And I don't know if that's true or not. So we'll see if I'm the problem, I guess, you know. Got a game plan for the chainmail today? No, not even a little bit actually. No, I'm still gonna firmly just avoid it until the very end, and then it's gonna be trial and error until we get the results that we like. And by we, I mean none of us, because it's not gonna be a good process. I'm trying to trust myself more. You know what? I can do it. I've never had an artistic challenge that I haven't been able to meet worthily. I have never had one. I'm like Moana, you know? You know when she's off in the fucking raft in the middle of nowhere and her grandma like comes to like tell her that she's a Chad, and she realizes that the call wasn't out there at all, it's inside me. To quote the poet, I've delivered us to where we are. I've journeyed farther. I am everything I've learned and more. Or something like that. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I have trust. I have faith. Listen, man. Maybe I'll look at some sketches. Maybe I'll look at some sketches. We'll figure it out. Oh god, how do people do this? Like, I could also look up and see maybe, like, if in, like, Book of Cain or any other kind of sketch style concept art type artists, how they handle different materials and textures. Because I kind of know how to handle, like, scale and feathers and lots of different repetitive textures. Chainmail is just a little more intricate, so it'll either look great or awful. So, maybe the artist in me is the friend I've made along the way. Is that the way it goes? Oh, shit. I don't know about making friends as an artist. You don't have... Dude, all the best artists don't have any friends. That's true. That's true. You can quote me on it. They're too busy working. I was telling my physio today that the two main qualities that determine whether or not you're a good artist or not is not work ethic or consistency. It's how jacked you are and how many tattoos you have. It's true. All the senior artists at all the big game companies, they're all jacked and they all have crazy tattoos. So this whole friends thing sounds like a bit of a red herring of sorts, a distraction. Because the problem is, if you're hanging out with friends, how are you practicing your fundamentals? That's right. Only fundamentals. No games. Nothing. I had to tell my physio about my, like, schedule of, like, working hours and then gaming and stuff like that. He's like, dude, you can't be holding a pen or a mouse for 16 hours a day. Like, bro, we gotta figure something out here, man. We gotta get you off of your whole like work PC gaming setup for a little bit. We'll see if it actually works though. I don't know. Maybe they're showing what to do. Ooh, yeah, I guess. All right. What does she have here? Just some lace and chains? Oh, God. Maybe I am ready for the book talk girlies. Maybe I am actually secretly ready for them. I think I probably will do a little portrait fan art thing for Aquitar, if for no other reason than the absolute primacy of the meme, you know? The utter capacity for the meme to pop off is worthy of spending a couple of hours doing some portraiture or whatever. Ooh, I can make it into bookmarks, actually. I don't have any bookmarks on my print store, but just funnily enough, bookmarks have been one of, if not the best-selling thing that I have ever made. At conventions, markets that Ella goes to, and she brings some of my art, and then also the retail space that Ella has in the store in the mall in Calgary. Apparently like 20 bookmarks a week sometimes sell. Week to week. Pretty crazy, man. I didn't realize people wanted fantasy art bookmarks so badly. Maybe I'll do an Aquitar bookmark series just for that event. And then never again will I touch Aquitar. Can you do free run fan art next time? How about you get bent, Greg? How about no, okay? God damn it. What is with these fucking weeb weirdos wanting free run art? God, man. Maybe I should do free run fan art. Just to I don't know, man. Just to let it be. Just to see what happens. Do the free run fan art. See what the internet thinks. I don't know though, because I don't particularly love doing anime style work. You know, I'm just not in love with it the way I used to be. I find that a lot of the anime sort of like stuff out there, like, I don't know, man, it's just kind of stylistically, it's just incredibly repetitive and boring for me in a way that it hasn't ever been. And I'm kind of freaked out by that, by the way. It's kind of weirding me out. So I really like the idea of taking things that are in like different sort of styles. Like I started doing a K-pop Demon Hunters piece that I really liked. That was in sort of my kind of like sketch, if you want to call it style, but it was in my style, I guess you could say. And I liked that. It was fun, you know? And I used to do this thing where I would try and merge sort of these styles and bleed them together and do some fan art for the VTubers that I know in my style. But I was talking to some of them and I asked them, what would you prefer art that's in sort of your character, your anime kind of style, or would you prefer art that was in kind of my style? And very nicely, kindly, and respectfully, they said, well, if it's in anime, I could use it for things, which would be awesome. I could use it for like schedules and, you know, events and whatever. And it's like, fair enough then. I want it to be useful. So I did. I had to push and stretch really hard to get that piece done for Stim, because anime is just so non-intuitive for me. And I think that that's kind of maybe the last one I'm going to do for a while in that style. If I do sort of my VTuber fan art series for my friends anymore, I'm going to definitely do it as portraiture in my kind of like working style. But I don't know if like anime fans would like to see something like Freerun, an anime they love, in a more kind of like, I don't know, Western comic book concept art sort of sketch style that I do. I don't know. and I mean no disrespect when I say this to anime fans, but a lot of anime fans are like obsessively in love with the stylistic sort of representation of the like they're anime fans, not art fans. You know what I mean? That's totally fair. It's not a bad thing. Or they're fans of their IP and not like, right? I don't know how to describe it, because I'm not trying to sound dismissive or rude, but I think there's kind of a disconnect there a little bit. You know what I mean? I collect bookmarks like I collect dice, so it makes sense that it sells well. Really? Do you? Actually, huh? Like, I'll show you the bookmarks that I have right now. Tell me what you think of them. If you think they'll do well at book talk events. These are the bookmarks that I have. I'll show you the files. Yeah. So I'll take a different piece of art. So I have a couple of them. I have the Emporium. This sells really well, which is really weird. The Emporium is one of the best-selling bookmarks I have, and I don't know why. But I have Emporium, and then I have the Dragon, and then I have the Barshir Towers. The Dragon sells really well. Holy shit. Narya sells really well. Floating Pool sells really well. Eldari Runes doesn't really sell that well. The Dragon print that I have sells really, really well. It's probably the best-selling one. And then this one doesn't really sell that well either. But it's still worth making them. But yeah, I mean, I put a little gold tassel on them and whatever. So I don't know. I don't have them in my print store yet or anything, because I've just haven't thought of it, to be honest. And I just keep making them for conventions and for whatever through the summer. So I'll do a big print store update in the next couple months and make sure they're all up there and a bunch of the new stuff I'm doing. But yeah, I don't know. Like, do people like general sort of fantasy art, or do you think people want things that are more like, what kind of subject matter do you think people would want for bookmarks? I always thought that like landscapes would do really well, right? Because you're going on a fantasy adventure, you know? I don't know if I have any bookmarks up here actually to show you the physical ones. I don't think so. I don't think I have any like, I know like I have some downstairs that are inventory for Ella's store. I mean, yeah, whatever. So I don't know what other art I could put on it that I do, you know, because like characters I don't think would do that well. Cool, like mermaid shit is cool, but like if other characters I don't think would do well as bookmarks. I think paintings are okay. Dragons again do really well. I don't know, man. I don't know other pieces of art to do. All of them, not gonna lie. Oh man, okay, I appreciate that. Landscapes as well as romantic symbiology. Wait, what is that? Wait, hold on. Can you elaborate? I'm intrigued. Symbolic. Wait. What is? Hold on. Like romantic. What kind of symbols would that be? What are we talking about? Google says things like apples, shells, leaves, Cupid, love knots, harps, doves, roses. Are these like? Is this like an established sort of like kind of symbol structure of thematic? This is new to me. This is new to me. I think I need more specifics than what Google's giving me right now. Okay. There's typical props in a lot of fantasy or romance novels. Really? Huh. Okay. Interesting. See, that's the kind of insight that I was looking for right there. I would have not thought of that. All right. A whole different work of literary symbology. Symbols, symbolism, symbolic symbols? No. Yeah, maybe I could make like fan art kind of bookmarks for. I was thinking it'd be kind of dumb or kind of silly or kind of fun to do sort of like a fan art. Like, you know, when something is kind of like loosely associated with an idea, but it isn't like copying, it's kind of a new design. I was thinking about doing sort of designs based off of the Sanderson books that Ella's reading. Or like Ella's reading a bunch of shit right now. She's reading She's reading, what is she reading? What book is it? The second one in Stormlight Archives. I don't fucking know. She's reading that. She's rereading Dune. She's gonna start a couple things like Red Rising and what other? There's like a bunch of fantasy books that she has. She's not a romantasy girly. She wants like Lord of the Rings shit. She actually was gonna reread Lord of the Rings because I was telling her about like my time in the Silmarillion over the last couple weeks, and she's like, "Damn, I gotta go back and read Lord of the Rings again." So, I'm doing some Sanderson stuff for her. There's also like this like Sanderson like Stormlight Archive RPG coming out, and I actually know that one of the guys that's like kind of in charge of the whole thing. He's a local Albertan dude. Very nice. Merrick. And so I got a sneak preview of the books, and they look really fucking cool. So I'm doing maybe some more Cosmere looking stuff. I don't know. It'll be worth it. A fun little jaunt creatively into a different realm. Or I just keep trying to push the Realms of Eldara stuff, and I write my own fantasy novel. That's right. Evan Blair Art is officially announcing his debut as an author. For one reason. One reason. I'll tell you why. The main reason why I am entering my debut as an author is because I'm so fucking sick of authors telling me I can't write. Oh, they're insufferable. No, I often, one of the more often like sort of requests or collaborative sort of like invitations I get from people is somebody who is not used to artists also storytelling. And so they will say things along the lines of like, oh, let's do a collaborative project. And I'm like, cool, what do you have in mind? And they're like, well, I could like write the story and you could like do the art. And I could like tell you what things look like, and then you could like draw them. And I'm like, oh, but I do that anyway. So I don't really, it sounds like you need me more than I need you right now. Like, oh, but you're not a writer, you're an artist. Like, I don't know, man. I write a lot of, do a lot of storytelling too. So I need to actually have a novel under my belt so I can be like, bitch. Okay, this is a bad reason to start writing, but look, you use the fuel you have at the beginning. No, I mean, like, honestly, I do actually really want to write the first, like, Eldara short stories and novella. But it's hard, man. I have an opinion that I think that most people are fucking dead-ass wrong about fantasy. And the more that I make videos and I ask people's opinions... Now, this is obviously people who are commenting on YouTube and TikTok videos and stuff. And I'm not going to fault or hold all fantasy authors sort of as... Like, I'm not going to hold commenters as the... You know what I mean? I'm not going to hold that against fantasy authors in the modern day. But it sounds like most people, when they talk about fantasy, I'm like, you and I inherently disagree on what makes for good stories. I, in fact, think you are full of shit, and thank you for letting me know. It's just this like incredulous disagreement all the time. So I don't know. I feel like I gotta like write some shit and see if I actually know what I'm talking about with any of this stuff. You know? I wonder if I let people, like, if I made bookmarks for people for their characters, if people would if that'd be fun. The problem is making a bookmark takes a lot of like effort. So I'm gonna start ordering them, I think, from I'm gonna get them printed and then ordered, because I need to really be able to figure out how to... One of my discussions I had with the artists at the convention, one of the more fruitful ones, really illuminated the fact that I need to start thinking about not doing every last little thing myself and reserving the time for the big things that are important to me, and then having like things like I want to have pins and stuff like that. Well, I can't make those myself, obviously, so I have to like think about getting them produced somewhere. Same with like bookmarks and some things like that. The trading cards are one that I won't really budge on. The trading cards I think are very important that I do them myself because they're fine art print trading cards. I had somebody who looked at a trading card at the convention tell me, I actually had a lot of good feedback on the trading cards at the convention. I gave out a couple of alpha test packs to 2 friends when I was there, and got some feedback from a couple of other people on the individual cards. But there was one guy who was just like, oh, I know. Well, there's a couple people that said, oh, I know a guy or whatever, or like a service or a printer you can use. And every time I had to say more or less, you know, that's cool, but I'm doing this. I'm doing it myself. And they're like, why waste all your time to do it yourself? I'm like, because it's important that I do it myself. Because I make all my prints, and even trading cards are prints. So, like bookmarks and whatever, I can probably let go of and just get them made online and buy them as inventory to save myself the time. But I can still make individual bespoke bookmarks for people. Maybe have like, if I do someone's character portrait for them for coffee, I can make them a bookmark of their character. That'd be kind of fun, you know? Except for the art cards, yeah, man, I'm glad they're fun. Like even doing like figuring out the promos as like how I'm doing the 1 of 1s. Did I show you this? I showed you guys this a little while ago. This is the what the fuck? OBS is broken and will not let me go full screen. Okay. Anyway, this is what they look like in the little magnetic slabs when it's a 1 of 1 card, the promos. So yeah, I don't know. These are fun, dude. I've been having way too much fun doing the trading card. There's a fluff inside the case. Oh no. The sanctity of the card. Oh well. They don't seal or anything, it's just magnetic. Snaps down. There's a lot of stuff that I'm really excited about doing. Projects and stuff, but the trading cards are one of the ones that's the most passion project-y for me. Because I love trading cards, man. I love collecting cards. I just can't do it on a large scale anymore because it's too expensive to collect. You know, like I didn't mind Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or whatever. It's like $100 for a box, and you buy a box once in a while. It's like, you know, it's fun, right? But now that like if you want the cool cards, you have to buy the like special ultra mega collection edition. And that is like $1,000 for a box. I can't do that anymore. I can't do that. When collector's boxes were a couple $100, okay, I could do that. But when Magic the Gathering collector's boxes hit 1,000 or 800 or even 700 or 600, I'm out. I'm just out. I'm sorry. I can't pay that kind of money for cardboard. I'll pay a lot of money for cardboard. I love cardboard. But can't pay $1,000 for a box of 12 packs, you know. How do you go about making your cards? I've thought about making some for my friends' D&D characters. Have to print project for my portfolio. Okay, so here's what I do. This is not a good idea. I'll tell you what I do, but this is not a way that I recommend anyone do this. So for my trading cards, I'll skip part of the process. So I have a base design for them, whatever. Put the different art in. This is like an alpha print sheet. I think it's, yeah. In the alpha print sheet, all of the Earth Elemental is off-centered. You see that? It's kind of funny. So anyone who has an alpha Earth Elemental, I'm not sure if Greg or if you or Ilaria have an Earth Elemental, but they're off-center. Anyway, when I print a sheet, it comes, this is a 13 by 19 sheet. So I can fit 25 cards on a 13 by 19 sheet. I print it. I don't just use like the card packs when they do hit pre-order are gonna be like $15 each probably. They're gonna be expensive because the paper I use, I don't use trading card paper. I don't even use cardstock. I use the same a hot press version of the paper that I use, a cold press for my prints. This is a hot press version, so it's smoother, but it is still a 340 GSM fine art museum grade archival paper with pigment ink. So it is still a it's a fine art card print is what I say. They're fine art trading cards. That's what I have on the boost packs, fine art trading cards, because they're not quick, easy, slap together, shuffle trading cards. They're fine art cards formatted like trading cards. So what I have to do here is I have to cut them out by hand. And every time I get a sheet, I have to use a ruler and an X-Acto blade, because you can't use an automatic like paper cutter, whatever. You can't obviously use scissors. You can't use a mechanical thing. You have to do it by hand, match the ruler up. That's what these little dots are. They're my print lines or my cut line guides. Match ruler, X-Acto blade. Every sheet has to have a new X-Acto blade on it, because the X-Acto blade dulls enough between each sheet that it makes it a little bit whatever. So every sheet is a new knife blade, painstakingly cut out by hand the entire time, because there's no way to do it otherwise. So if you have if I was doing a mass-produced trading card, I would either order them online, get them printed, or I have a Cricut, which is a thing that automatically cuts stuff for you. If it's a thinner cardstock and not a fine art, this isn't paper. This is cotton rag. This is when you get fine art paper, like fine art prints that are made for museum grade archival, whatever. They're not actually made of wood pulp paper. They're made of cotton. So if you've ever gotten a print of mine, anybody who has that one, and you feel the paper, if you ever felt it, I mean, try not to use your fingers because oils and shit, but it feels the same, but it's actually made of cotton. It's paper. It's fabric. It's not actually paper. And that's why the paper's so unbelievably expensive. But it's what makes it archival, hundreds of years. We're good, kind of thing. So if you're just using a heavy, thick cardstock and you're making trading cards, I'd slap a sheet down, get the Cricut to cut it out for me, whatever. But I really want to make them the highest possible quality imaginable, more than I care about them being a successful product, air quotes. So like I said, this is a passion project. The paper, to print the first edition, the paper cost alone is going to be about $800. And the printer I had to buy to do this was $2,500. So this is not a thing where this is not a good idea. If you're thinking about making trading cards or whatever for any kind of a profit incentive, this is not a good idea. This is a terrible idea. But because I want to, because it's fun, that's why I'm going all these extra steps that I wouldn't recommend anyone else go. So don't use a cotton rag. Don't cut it by hand. Don't whatever. There's all these stupid things that I do that I would not recommend people do for their own cards if they're having any sort of thoughts of trading card delusions of grandeur. So there's lots of great ways of making trading cards online. People have tutorials and stuff, and a lot of them, almost all of them, are better than what I do, because nobody has a guide for handling the cards that are made of the same kind of material that I use for mine. So I don't know. I didn't think anyone would care or appreciate him, but people were pretty excited about it, man. People were. It's I also didn't think that I had any demand for fine art print series, limited series and whatnot. I honestly didn't think people gave a shit about this kind of stuff. I've been extremely surprised and shocked and absolutely overjoyed to see that other people care about this kind of stuff as much as I do. That completely I don't know, man. Just making my first limited edition print series, spending the money and investing in a pigment printer to make giclée prints, the paper, all that kind of stuff. When somebody cares about it, that's ugh. It just hits me straight in the core of my soul. The cards are not live yet. No. I had all intents to put them out after the convention in September. Was not anticipating being sent on my ass for 3 weeks. So I didn't do everything I wanted to last month to get them ready for everything, but I do have like the cards are already like the packaging is good. I think figured it out. These are I think the only 2 alpha test packs that I have left that I'm not going to open. I'm going to leave them as examples of like the process or whatever. But with like different glues and stuff, and yeah, they're not exactly these aren't exactly good. Also, they're not the packages themselves are not archival because I don't think the paper is acid free. It might be though, I don't know. But like this is what I'm thinking they're going to look like, is more along this line, this size, or maybe the slightly larger ones. But still, it's a pretty heavy card stock, and I might try and figure out if I can do something a little bit easier to shred into. But I bought like bookbinding glue, which I'm going to try because bookbinding glue is archival. That's obviously important if you're having archival prints inside of a paper packaging. You want the glue or adhesive you're using to be archival. So there's a couple little material things I need to do for tests, but everything's basically... The only thing I don't really know how I'm going to do is the boxes, but I have a pretty good idea. It's not really a difficult challenge. So I'm slowly working away on it. I wanted it to be a thing, you know, for the fall, and I still plan on it being a thing for the fall. I'm really, really looking forward to it. And if the first edition, for some ungodly reason, sells out, then I'll make a second edition. And it'll be fucking dope. And like, this is a terrible idea. But I'm doing it because I love the trading cards, man. I can't afford to buy Magic, so I'll just make my own. Good to see you, Plague. Enthusiasm makes it cool to learn more about. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's fun. It was really cool at the convention with especially like people that don't like know me or whatever, don't like have any reason to have any kind of like favorable opinion of me. When those people would care about the print quality and stuff like that, that was really interesting for me, because it's like, I don't know. A lot of people who are like strangers in the wild just kind of blow off what you're doing, be like, oh, okay, neat anyway, see ya. But when somebody who is a stranger in the wild would like stop and care about whatever it is that I'm doing for a minute, and like care about the prints, like I have people actually buy prints when they're like, when I'd say to them, like, you know, just so you know, all my prints are whatever, blah, 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 like archival, museum grade, whatever. People, occasionally someone's eyes would like light up and they'd be like, oh shit. Wait, really? You do all that kind of stuff? I'm like, yeah, I want them to be like fine art, museum grade, like whatever. And people actually got them framed. Like somebody sent me a message over my Shopify thing for some reason. They didn't just email me, but they sent me they actually got a print that I made framed, like expensive, like $600 frame job for like a $60 fine art print. That was kind of crazy, you know? It's like a centerpiece in their gaming room now, which is like really cool, you know? No third edition? I don't think there'd be enough demand for a third edition. If there was enough demand, because the thing is, the cards are all serialized, right? So every time you get a rare, part of why I wanted to make them like something more special is that when you get a card, no, that's not a card. When you get a card, if it's like any kind of like a non-unlimited card, like so a rare or higher, it'll always have a serialization to it. So it'll be number like 3 of 25 in the first edition. So I can't just print more, right? So if I print a second edition, then I need to print the full second edition, right? So I need to print enough packs or whatever to make up for there being another 25 of each rare, or whatever it is, you know, whatever number it is, for a second dead. And by the way, if I sell, like, let's just say like 20% of the first edition, no one buys it, and I'm left with 80% of my own trading cards left in just like bulk inventory, which I don't think will happen. I know won't happen actually, but anyway, I'm okay holding on to it just because I love trading card shit, and I'll just hold on to it forever. It'd be like a cool thing from the early days. So I think I'll probably have to do a second edition. I'm preparing for that based on demand and people threatening pre-orders and stuff like that, and sending me messages over things. I'll probably do a second edition. A third edition, I don't know. Like if there is the demand for it, I will happily do it, because this is one of the most joyous things that I've ever done as an artist. One of the most important projects for me. I fucking love it. It's unbelievable amounts of work and time and monotonous sort of just like tasks, repetitive, whatever. But it's so fulfilling and fun, and I love it so much that I'll do it, man. As long as there's people that want it, I'll do it. The promos that I'm doing as part of the sponsorship projects are fun to do. Like I love making the cards, man. Love it shit. So on both a set of an uncut sheet wall art version. I will get you one. 100%. You and a few other people have mentioned that they wanted uncut sheets of the base sort of like common set or the base set, and I will make sure that I'll I'm gonna make probably like a limited series of 10 uncut sheets, and I'll probably want to keep a couple for myself, but I'll make sure that everybody who really wants one, like I think you wanted one, Dark wanted one, I'm not sure if Samurai said he wanted one, Cobalt, one of the mods said they really wanted one as well. For people who like uncut sheets of that kind of thing, like I do, I want to make them like a thing that is available for that. I'll just make a pre-order bonus or something. I don't know. I'll just you'll get one. Don't worry. I'll make sure you get one. 100%. So yeah, I don't know. It's one of the more fun things. Like just all that shit about like LARPing as a real artist. It's the stuff that makes me feel like I'm the most creatively sort of like energized. And that sounds a little lame, I know, because like, okay, Evan, you're drawing D&D art all day. Like, who cares if it's for like a commission or your own project or whatever? You're still drawing dragons and shit. But not all projects are the same. And I don't really know how to describe it. And it sounds kind of like self-indulgent and lame and dramatic and whatever. And I get that. But I can't lie, man. All right. Where is our fill layer? Okay. Let's fill in our darker tones here. See what that looks like. See if we like it. Because there's a lot of black on this character. She's wearing a lot of dark colors, man. I'll leave the veil empty for now, because we're gonna do that next. I'm gonna finally have to reconcile with the fact that I don't know how to do this. Oh, God. That looks okay. Good enough, man. Good enough. Really did want to do that expanded piece with her, like holding her sensor, but I just don't want to like... I don't want to bite off that much work for 13 portraits, you know? Even if one really inspires me, I don't want to. I don't want to do that much. That's a lot. That's too much. It's too much. I sat down for a little while last night though, and I did some myth writing. Myth is so interesting. Like I've been thinking a lot about the way that good fantasy like sort of addresses myth, and I'm trying to figure out if good myth myth requires divinity. Can you have good myth without divinity? That's a legit question. I actually don't know. Been pondering it more. Like even like if the example of Lord of the Rings, Warcraft, Warhammer, like a lot of the mainstream fantasy that has really great myth behind it, I feel like divinity is usually a pretty big point in it. And I haven't really covered that in Eldara. Whenever anyone asks me sort of the creation myth of the world, I always ask them who they're asking. I'll never answer the question. But if you're asking a bartender in, you know, Northmark or a librarian in Ashasari, they have very different ideas. I think it's an interesting way of doing it, but I really feel like I have to, like, eventually, you know, commit to the myth, commit to the legend. That's a beast. Ash's characters are always so pretty, but it's silly detailed. Yeah, the veil is a lot, but I really wish that these, like, I want to be respectful as I can to another artist's work. I really wish these designs, like, for the characters had a little bit more of that Wayne Reynolds sort of, like, storytelling in it. Like, I always want to put more stuff on here, you know, like more trinkets and stitches and materials and emblems and, oh my god, you know? I wish they were more detailed, more intricate. I really like pushing that kind of stuff on character designs. And part of me still wants to do a redesign of, maybe I'll do that after I do the portraits. I'll pick a character and I'll do a redesign of them with all the unnecessary amounts of, like, stupid details that I like to throw onto characters. All the extra patterns and designs and trinkets and adventurers, whatever. I haven't really been able to go ham on a full character in a while, and that's one of the reasons why I think I'm going to add in the full character, like full body portraits to my coffee, so that I can really do that and push designs, like, really far and really hard, and do incredibly detailed, very intricate designs once in a while. Because I always find myself, and I mean this with the most amount of love and respect in my heart possible, I always find myself having to pull back on designs, usually when I'm doing things for client work. You know, people have an idea of their characters looking more like they're costumed than they are, like, kind of character designed in that way, in the kind of that concept art way. And that's totally fair. It's not a bad thing. It's, again, I'm not trying to knock, like, clients or anything, but, and I'm happy to do it. It just means that I don't get to do that kind of really, like, concept arty kind of stuff ever. I'm, like, costume designing with people, which, again, I love, but I'd like to be able to do both once in a while, so. But to be fair, every once in a while I get a client that is like, give me all of that good, juicy detail that you throw on your characters. Give it all to me. I want to see everything. You know? Which is cool. But I know it doesn't fit into everyone's sort of, like, campaign narratives and character design requirements. So that's why I try and, like, you know, hold back a little bit once in a while. I'd love to do a much more involved version of this character with a lot more detail and storytelling and I think that storytelling I mean this comes from a concept art background, though, you know, when I say this, but, like, storytelling through visual design is really important. And with adventurers, I think that a lot of their storytelling elements come from the things that they carry with them. That's why I love to do all those, like, unnecessary bullshit designs. Planning my redesign back to an ethereal and having such a hard time doing a mix of simplicity and sexy complicatedness. Really? What's the like where is the complication versus the simplicity coming from? Materials and patterns or emblems or items, or, because it's tricky, man. That's a balance, right? A lot of it comes down to people in the world perceive as divine. Historically, myth and divinity are most often stems from explaining the unexplainable. Yes. Okay, hold on. That's really important. Because the idea of magic being presented historically, one of the different, okay, I have this idea, I'm not sure how well thought out it is. Let me just try and put it together real quick. But it's almost like magic in the old way of telling stories is the tool that you use to tell or explain how miracles and mysteries happened. Miracles is a good word for it, but people often associate the word miracle with a religious connotation, and I don't think that's what I'm getting at. But like, sort of miracles of, like, how did this happen? a lot of that is explained away in sort of science and understanding how, like, oh, well, the rain came this way or that way or whatever. But the idea of doing magic in some ways was a way to have unexplainable things happen, versus more modern fantasy and even like people who really love Sanderson, like magic systems. Magic became more uniform. What's the word I'm looking for? Almost like oh fuck, what's the word? It's like coded. It became a tool. It became like understandable. It became decipherable, like writing code. There's a word for it, I don't know what it is, but I think that there's value in that magic and myth is the unexplainable. In Norse mythology, Thor was created to give a face and name to thunder and lightning. A fantasy world can absolutely exist without actual gods and mythical creatures in it as things that are only known through stories but never seen. It all comes down to what divinity is in the eyes of the inhabitants of the world. Yeah. And so it's like, how much do I put into that as like, fuck, what's the word? Man, this is like I have, dude, how do people organize thoughts? I have so many ideas on this in my head, and I don't know how to organize it properly. But like handling sort of like the myth and trying to balance the myth of, let's just say, the Eldari. The Eldari were... What the question of what Eldara is a question that's a difficult thing to answer, that I don't really have an answer that I'm willing to give people, because I think that's a cool lore payoff for like a very long down the road thing. But the Eldari are these like mythical creators, these celestials, whether they're servants of a greater god or whatever, or if they themselves are gods that basically built the realms. And the Eldari are referred to so often in myth that there's almost like a practical, they're almost they move between myth into historical figures. But trying to balance that, keep them mystical and interesting and magical and mysterious without making them completely fiction even within the world. Like, it's such an unbelievably difficult challenge that I don't know, because I gotta get this right, because I can't go back and change this. Once I say what something is, if I say like, oh, there's an idea of what this is or what that is or whatever, it's kind of like, yeah, okay, we can change it later. But if I say like, this is how the world was created and this is in the myth, this is what happened, then that becomes something I'm kind of stuck on. And it's one of the reasons why I've really been dragging my heels on actually creating a lot of like really solid answers for it, because I find that a lot of people do this and they go, in my opinion, the wrong way when they're developing a fantasy world. They try and create the rules first, and then they try and tell the story within it. And I think that it's the kind of thing where it's like, if you fill your map out first, like never start with a world map. Never, ever, ever start with a world map when you're doing fantasy. And I know a lot of people love that. It's where they start. They pour some rice on a piece of paper and they map. There you go. I think that starting with a world map limits you. It puts you in a cage or a box that you might think is a great box that you're building at the time. But when you're world building and creating and writing 3 years down the road, you might realize that you actually want to break out of some of those places that were like ill-conceived walls that you put around your world. So I don't think you should start with a world map at all. I think you should do the League of Legends style, where Runeterra is like it starts on the one continent of League of Legends that matters. And you know there's things that way and over there and like to the north and to the south, but it's not like on a map committed to. I think that's a way better way of doing it, so you give yourself freedom in the future. Narratively, from a myth perspective and like a cosmology perspective, I think it's the same thing. In some ways, if I said like, okay, in the beginning there was Eru, who is also known as Iluvatar, and he sung the chorus of the Valar, and that's like your entire story, and you start with that myth and you go from there. The same thing happens where you realize that maybe you want an alteration to like help describe an event that happened narratively in your world, but you've already kind of boxed yourself in with the confines of what happened. If you say what happened ever, then you can't go back and rewrite it. It's the same reason why I think a lot of the best D&D characters don't have a lot of backstory to them. Because if you're like this kind of like rough and tumble character from the streets, and you're orphaned at the age of 5 because your parents died from a axe murderer. Then later on down the road, when there's like a big conflict, when you're like, oh, it'd be really cool if my parents actually died in the war. Too bad they died from an axe murderer, because I already wrote that. Damn, you know what I mean? Like just whenever you write anything, and this can be taken to the extreme the other way. The problem with this is that if you never commit to anything, then you don't get a fucking story, right? So you have to commit to things, but it's almost like, it's like, you know, when it's a good idea, and if you commit to an outcome or an idea or a design or whatever too early, and you don't give yourself really like the best chance to figure out what the best like way to fit it into everything else, it feels like you're trying to, like, I'm trying to grab all these stories and designs and worlds, and I'm just constantly trying to like pull them closer together and closer together and closer together, rather than committing to like stamp one thing down, nail it down, put another thing beside it, nail it down. It's like everything I'm kind of like trying to pull all together, which is really stressful. But with the whole idea of the myth, like I don't know the presence of or the benefit of there being the presence of divinity versus not. You know, how much in this creation myth are the Eldari, for instance, not historical figures, but how much do they represent some sort of divine nature, right? Some immortal, extra reality, extraplanar kind of like presence, versus just being very powerful sort of entities from the past that, you know, could be highly accomplished conjurers, or maybe they are literally sort of an analogy for angels, like the kind of the Maiar in Lord of the Rings or in the Valar. I'm not smart enough for any of this. That's the problem. I'm not smart enough for any of this, but the problem is when I read TikTok comments, I realize that basically no one else is any either. At least people that comment on my videos. And I mean that with love. I don't think it's not apparent to me that there's a right way of doing it. But then you'll hear a lot of things like D&D videos on the internet of like, here's how you make a world, here's how you do a backstory, here's how you do this, as if there is sort of this like chosen best way to do it. And I'm always kind of very skeptical of people that say the definitive right way is, you know, always extremely skeptical of that shit. You get all that from happening from different species and races. Say the dragon folk know them as ancient people with intricate architecture and technology. While the merfolk might see them as something next to gods, maybe even reverse that or revere them. Third race might have a third option, thus leading to a huge mystery of what they actually are. So you're absolutely right. I think that's the best way of doing it right now. That's exactly the way I'm handling it. So if somebody says to me, so here's the challenge with that though. So if you say to me, Evan, what are the Eldari? I see them referenced in this mess in these, like, these are Eldari runes and the rings were built by the Eldari and the Eldari this, Eldari that. What are the Eldari? And I say, who are you asking? And you're like, a noble in Stonemark. I'm like, oh, well, they tell you that the Eldari were the children of a god named Eldara. Oh, okay. And they were the first ones. They were an immortal race of builders that were the children and servants. And when the worlds were constructed, they vanished from the world, going back to the divine whatever to rejoin the whatever. Oh, okay. So how did they do this? I don't know. But don't okay, well, let me ask a Mithara. Oh, they say that the Eldari were a title given to the first mortals. You're like, whoa, what? But don't they have art of them, like in their sculptures and stuff, of them being very tall, sort of like noble looking figures? Yeah, that was a way of representing the first mortals. Oh, so they were mortal? Well, I don't know. Who else are you asking? I'm gonna ask the dwarves, like the Rith. If I ask a Rith archivist in the Grand Library of the Deep Mountain, whatever. Oh, well, they say the Eldari, they were the ones that taught them how to do whatever. They came from somewhere else and then they left back to that place, but they were mortals. And I think this is a great way of doing it narratively, but one thing I run into as a problem with this being an RPG, a TTRPG, is I'll get people in chat or comments often that are like, well, no, what actually are they, Evan? It's like, I'm not fucking telling you. That's part of the mystery. And what I find is like not a lot of people are willing to tolerate mystery. We all want it, but the problem is I think a lot of people are kind of like, if they don't revere or respect the story and the storyteller, they don't tolerate mystery. People want like the candy now. So if you ask your favorite writer, what's the solution to this like mystery, and they kind of just give you a knowing wink, then you're kind of like, oh, okay, cool, I trust my writer. But the problem is when you're creating a story from scratch and you have people who are throwing questions at you in the middle of the creation process, then it's kind of like, I get accused a lot of being either lazy in storytelling by not giving answers or not well thought out, right? And that's like, so I think the obvious thing is, well, how do you deal with those accusations? You just tell someone to get bent, But it's very interesting the amount of times that somebody who I think is like who seems to be like into the story or whatever, then as soon as there's a mystery that they want, that they're like, this mystery I'm okay not knowing, this mystery I'm okay not knowing, but Evan, you have to tell me the answer to this, and then they get like really upset about it. And every once in a while it happens, and it's always kind of troubling, because I feel like I want to try and find a more, because regardless of if somebody's right or wrong, they are agitated and dissatisfied with there being a mystery. And I'm trying to figure out how to navigate that in a way that it isn't upsetting to not know. And I don't know how to do that yet. So yeah, I think you're right about the best way of doing it is have it be a mystery and have different people have different ideas about it. And then you never commit to what it actually is until you absolutely need to. So in 20 years, when you're playing the, 35th version of Eldara, then finally the answer of what the Eldari actually are is like a big narrative payoff. Oh my god, what an crazy adventure, what an incredible discovery. We actually, after 20 years of playing D&D and video games and movies and comic books in the realms of Eldara, we finally meet our first Eldari and they tell us what they are. That's awesome. But a lot of people don't want to wait for that, I find, and they get mad about it. And it's fine if you don't want to wait because you're like excited. I appreciate the enthusiasm, but it's when people get mad that I don't know how to handle that, Make Eldar the gnomes. Oh, fuck the gnomes, god damn it. What's up, Natasha? Good to see you, dude. What's happening? They aren't patient enough for suspense anymore. Yes. I wonder why, though. And I mean this again with like with all the love for the people that get agitated and mad. I wonder why so many people aren't patient. Because you'll hear. One person was I had to ban them because they got disrespectful and rude. But it was the funniest thing ever because it was like on a Monday we were talking about the Star Wars, and they said something along the lines of like, yeah, when George Lucas created metachlorians, that ruined Star Wars for me, because as soon as they had an answer to the mystery of what the Force was, it kind of ruined it for me. Like, not everything needs to be explained, man. And then on like Thursday or Friday of the same week, I was saying something about how the astral aura works, how the astral sages and astral knights use their powers. And I said to them, it's kind of a mystery as to where that power comes from. They know if they focus their runes in the deep sky, constellations, celestial bodies, whatever, they can draw magic from it, but they don't really know where it's coming from. And the person was like, well, where is it coming from? I'm like, it's kind of an unknown thing. They're just sort of pulling from the universe. Like, who are you asking? You're like, well, no, as a DM, I need to know the exact mechanics of how this works. Like, this is why, like, Sanderson is a great magic system because he has rules. And if you don't have rules for your magic system, it's a bad magic system. And I was kind of like thinking to myself, like they got into it, and then they left on their own volition. And I just banned them quietly after, because it's a lot easier to just quietly ban someone rather than making a big deal of like, now you are banned. It kind of kills the vibe, But after the stream, I was kind of like, weren't they on like literally a couple days ago advocating for mystery in a storytelling situation? And then today they got banned because they got so upset about not knowing how something worked in Eldara. What the fuck? Like, I don't know, man. I wonder why people aren't. Is it like fucking TikTok brain, attention span, brain rot shit that makes people like unable to tolerate? Or are people just so excited and enthusiastic? They're like, come on, man, tell me, come on, man. And they're just enthusiastic. But since there's like access directly to me, like they can be like, come on, George Lucas, write this. Or come on, my favorite writer, write this. But they're not like, they don't have the ability to like tell the writer off because there's no interactability. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the difference is there. They can't trust the process, exactly. You need a human prophet who can confidently answer all the questions and mysteries. I do. Maybe I should have them build the computer from Hitchhiker's Guide, actually. That might be the way to do it, right? I was my table all the time, and it always seems to be an attack on the DMs not doing it right. Yes, right? It always gets personal like that. 100%. Like, bro, we don't know why this happened or what it means. We can't tell if it's a part of the greater narrative. Yeah. Why does that happen at your table, you think, Natasha? Stephen Erickson, author of the Malazan books, I'm not familiar, has done this. He has a race known as the Storm Riders, and even after nearly 20 books, no one really knows where they came from or what their goals are. He says their history is like a vault filled with gold that'll hold on to it, the key, for a while longer. I love that. I love that because I think narrative payoff is the greatest prize for me personally in D&D is narrative payoff. That's the greatest prize for me in any story. So when it comes to a game like D&D where there are rewards like loot and levels and accomplishment and titles and achievements and shit like that, that's great to me. But dude, the best moments that I've ever had in my DMing career, if you want to call it that, my time DMing, are those 4 or 5 year campaigns, sometimes even like short, like, listen, a year-long campaign is still a long campaign. Don't let the 20-year veteran graybeards that have been in the same campaign since they were all 15 years old and now they're in their 70s, right? Don't let them tell you that your year-long campaign isn't a long campaign. Fuck them. All right? Okay, boomer, get out of my life. So even after a year-long campaign, that whole, like, the answer to what the thing is, that's always like my favorite thing is seeing wonder happen in real time. Because hold on, I'm gonna fucking get wait. I'm gonna get emotional about this for a second. To me, fabricated wonder and adventure is real. Okay? Loving characters, loving stories, loving the whole process of adventure. You can't fake wonder. When you are sensorily, you see something for the first time and you go to a foreign country or just a great national park and you see wonder, all of the things that inspires in you, the feelings, the emotions, the physiological change you go through in that moment where you experience wonder is one of the greatest gifts that we have as humans in our experiences, to see the thing and go, wow. One of the most profound experiences I've ever had in my entire life, okay, is when I saw the Milky Way for the first time. Okay? But that is an experience that you can manufacture and get through stories. You can read a story, and when finally Frodo casts the ring, or ish, kind of, whatever. When the ring is cast into the thing and the Eye of Sauron explodes in the movies and Gandalf tears up, and I know in the books different, but it was movies, whatever, everybody's seen the movies. And that moment of like, oh my God, the adventure's come to a conclusion. The Dark Lord is falling. That sense of relief and whatever is a real emotion. And that's why stories are awesome, because in a world of concrete buildings and cars and exhaust and political whatever and health and all this stuff, sometimes a little fucking wonder and adventure is the thing that makes life worth living from day to day, at least for me anyway. And so you can create that in a story, and the feeling that you get in that wondrous moment is the same feeling as when you stare upon the Milky Way for the first time, or gaze across the Alaskan wilds, or whatever you do, man, that makes life kind of zesty for you, bro. And so for me, in stories, when people demand to know the answers, I think to myself, why the fuck would I ruin this for you? Why in God? And even if you don't care and you just are passing by and you just kind of want to know, flip to the spoilers, why would I say it on stream and then have the information out there for the 13 people that decide that they want to go through this adventure and they want to go through the whole thing? Why would I ruin it just so one fucking person can whine about not knowing the thing? Get absolutely historically and profoundly bent. All right, I'm done. How you guys doing? I don't know. Is that unhinged? Am I completely wrong here? Players always think they're smarter than the DM for whatever reason. That's maybe that's actually that tracks, Natasha. Always comes from veteran players who are so fixated on maybe other ways other DMs play they can't let go. Yeah. Yeah. At least the rules the Astral Knight and the Sage are mostly finished world down with the world stuff. Yeah, man. Like stories that don't necessarily answer all questions, but maybe that's because I'm older and accept that life doesn't have to answer all the questions. I do think it's a younger thing to need all the answers. Yeah, I wish, like, I don't even know the demographic of people that are like asking me or demanding to know. Like when someone gets absolutely like profoundly butthurt because I won't tell them exactly how something works in D&D or why something works the way it does in Eldara, and they tell me I'm bad or like I'm not thinking it through or whatever. I never know like who that's coming from, right? We're not getting bent about you, Atari. Nothing. You're perfect. All right, there you go. You know. My DM this to me yesterday. I sent him a bunch of questions. He replied, "Are you sure you want to know and not experience it?" Ooh. Yeah, you know, one of the... There's things about the world that I won't even tell Ella. Because I don't want her to spoil the journey. You know? I never want her to spoil the journey for herself. And she's the one most committed to the journey. She's the only person that I can get every week to show up for D&D. Even though we don't play D&D. Everyone else, they got life, man. They got shit going on. Ella, if there is D&D, she will be there. So I don't want to spoil the journey for her, you know? You know? Those kind of stories, me too. 100% right and valid. Thank you. Justified. Has Ella begged for forbidden knowledge? Ella, yes. Yes. Ella once, it was a learning experience for me. Ella she didn't demand. I said I was going to use demand as a kind of a joking term, but she really wanted to know something, and she pleaded with me to tell her. And I was not smart enough to tell her that would ruin a big, huge plot point for her. And I was like, okay, fine, this is how it works. And she was like, all like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Like in that moment, she had that like, that rush of like excitement. But then after, I was kind of like, I didn't get to deliver that to you in the best way. And that bothered me a lot. And I was like, I'm not telling you stuff like this anymore, okay? And she was like, okay, fair enough, you know. So Ella does have forbidden knowledge that I wish that she didn't have, and that it was a learning experience for me. That in that moment I deprived her of, like, to give her the excitement that she wanted in that moment to know how something worked. That I was like, that I was also excited to tell anybody about. I deprived her of the opportunity to see that happen in real time, to unfold in the story. And I realized that there are some things that not even, and maybe especially even, Ella shouldn't find out about the realms. So yeah, Ella knows some shit, but she doesn't know everything. There's a lot of stuff about the world that I'm keeping close to my chest now, because I don't want to ruin the experience of her playing in the realms for 20 years and having this amazing payoff or whatever it is, and all the cool payoffs for the story along the way. You know what I mean? So there is forbidden knowledge that Ella knows, and she will not share with anybody. You could probably trick her into telling you, though. Good to see you, Steve. Thing is, though, our society is kind of built on the instant gratification with TikTok, likes, and social media, so patience is a dying trait. Yeah, I think that's what it is the modern day sort of like instant gratification. I could see that. I could make a case for that, you know? Remind me of the beauty of the Paranoia TRPG. Discourages players understanding the system, even instructing the DM to consider punishing them. It's a great exercise in trusting the experience and narrative. Interesting. I never heard of that before. Love that for her that you're keeping things for her. I'd be childishly angry and internally dying from excitement one day to find out. Well, so the whole world is for her. Everything I'm doing is for her. That's gonna sound dramatic, I understand. But, like, the reason I made the Astral Knight class, it shouldn't be a class, by the way. The Astral Knights shouldn't be a class. They should be a narrative group and not a full class, is because she wanted to play one. Ella gets to point at something in the world that she wants to explore, and I will rest at nothing for no amount of time until that thing is done for her. Because, like, that's the reason I started making the world, was so that she had a place to go on adventures. The greatest gift I can personally give to somebody, to you guys, to people I love and care about, and the person I love and care about the most, Ella Blackwood, my wife, is I can hopefully, as an artist and a storyteller, hopefully I can give you adventure and wonder. Like, all the greatest gifts that have ever been given to me from the elders of our stories, telling sphere, the greatest gift that Tolkien or Sanderson or Martin or whoever or Lucas ever gave us was the adventures. Like I said, remember when I was fucking ranting about this, that adventure and wonder, the physical feeling you get is real, and that's a gift when someone gives you that. And that's the best thing I can do for anybody. That's the most amount of good I can do in this world. And to leave the best mark possible is take people on adventures, hopefully, and give you some wonder and adventure and excitement and thrill in your life that, like, might not have been there had you not experienced whatever it is that I was doing. And so for her, that's the best thing I can do for her, is give her that experience. So the whole world is, like, in some ways made for her, right? Like, obviously it's not like it's not like it's all some, like, weird story just, like, self-indulgently kind of like, oh, it's all about Ella. But Ella loves fantasy, and she loves stories, and she loves Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and all that kind of stuff, and she wants the next great masterpiece, and so I'm going to spend my entire life trying to make that. I just struggle to know what comes next, because I'm enthused for the journey, and also knowing it's better to let the journey happen. That's always such a battle inside me, especially when the sessions only happen weekly. Oh, man. Only weekly? God, could you imagine? Like, you can read a book and just speed read to get to those parts. Yeah, I feel that. Save the chainmail for last, I see. Absolutely. I have been putting it off this entire time. I think I have an idea of how I want to do it, but I'm not sure if it's going to look good, and it might be the dumbest thing I've ever done. So we're going to try it and see if it works. And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, oh boy. Well, okay, I need to save my current line work just in case this doesn't work. That's what we gotta do. Merge down. Okay, so when trying to sketch textures, it's important to try and sketch the light that hits the textures and the shadows that hits the light that hits the textures and the shadows that kind of bounce off of them, as opposed to what's actually there. I have my Valus reference here of kind of the density and knit of her chainmail, and I'm going to try doing something here. I'm going to try snagging the same way I do stonework, and make some patterns off of it that I can kind of cluster a little bit. And then bleed it down into less and less detail. And then we're not going to use all of these, obviously. We're not going to draw every single little pattern. We're going to kind of, like, create this negative space around the whole thing and see if it looks good. Yeah, fucking pass Devin, I know, right? What an asshole. What an unbelievably selfish asshole. Leaving this shit for me. God, can you imagine? Oh, I can imagine, because that was me. I forgot. I have faith, I have confidence that this is going to look okay. We're just going to see. I visualized that. I've been struggling putting highlights on said wings. A good way of doing it is if you're looking at any, like one thing that's really good that your brain is really good at is understanding how shapes make larger objects. So it's why you can see shapes in clouds. It's why there's certain like focusing on shadow shapes for drawing certain things is like, I don't know, if you're gonna think about drawing like a mind flayer is the example I always like to use. If you think just about drawing the light and you think about a very like washed out, kind of blown out, overexposed piece or whatever, you can really begin to think about how textures and shadow shapes kind of work together to begin telling the story of what's there. So you don't really need to draw the whole thing. You can just think about the shadows. And it will, hopefully, if you're doing it well enough, will allow your brain to fill in the gaps. And obviously this is a bit of an extreme example. But just see how your brain starts identifying shapes and identifying what's actually there and seeing it and putting it together. This is your brain working in real time. It's something it's very good at. Artists, the best artists, don't actually like draw everything as they see it. That's why the idea of realism and photorealistic art is kind of like not really it doesn't really exist. The best artists of our generation of whatever sort of like schools of technique, they are the artists that understand how to get your brain to do like 95% of the heavy lifting. They understand how to make one scrape with their palette knife tell your brain that the mountains have snow on them. And so regardless of what you're doing, you know, when you zoom out or you can squint your eyes or zoom out, it's why a painting should always look finished in the first like 20% of the painting. The painting should be done after 20%. And you just spend the rest of the time kind of rendering it, making it fancier. So this guy is done, more or less. We know what's here. We see that there's a mind flayer, and he's got his tentacle beards here, and he's being illuminated from this direction. Now we could go in and detail it more. We could start thinking about the textures on the tentacles, or like the little suction cup textures that might be protruding out from, you know, under his tentacles. We could think about adding little you know, details and whatnot, and fleshing out more of sort of the form of it a little bit better, and maybe trying to introduce some more complicated shadows to show the tentacles kind of like occupying their space a little bit better, or like maybe even some wraparound shadow kind of being pulled out of other ones to help define form a little better. Or maybe as they curve down and they don't have as much light on them, just for a brief moment there's an extra defining sort of like outline of it. Whatever, dog. Like, we could sit here and sort of render out this piece more and make it look more and more complete. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. But the whole point is that in the first pass, the first, like, you know, 2.5 minutes or whatever it took me to do this, that you kind of, you know what's going on, and it all kind of looks right ish. Like obviously it's a very like quick, easy little pass on this, but you get what I'm saying. So same thing's true. So like we're not going to keep every single little chainmail link here. We're going to erase most of it. It's gonna fade. A lot of it's gonna fade into shadow. Just the way kind of here, if you like sort of squint your eyes, there's kind of like more or less a big shadow shape that goes like this and kind of has a little highlight right here. And then another shadow shape that goes like this. And then this is all washed out with a highlight. So the details, there aren't a ton of details on this except for in the kind of the mid-ground areas. So the same thing is going to be applied here with our veil. The same theory, I guess. We're just going to create it. We're just using this to create a pattern right now that we can then like kind of yoink from. It's going to be a lot of work, still a lot of detailing, but a lot of it also I can sort of like snag from previous parts of it and drag to other parts of the piece. That's why I'm making some base sort of like textures and details that we can yoink to other pieces and other places on it. You know? And keep it random and varied enough, but still hopefully communicative. Then when you zoom out and you look at the whole thing, it starts looking more and more correct. And then we can start thinking about reusing a bit of our pattern here and there. And so like here where the light's going to hit, it's going to wash out most of the detail. So we're going to be left with just like a couple little pieces, a little pattern, you know, the darkest parts in it. That's it. And if we keep constructing it and building it and zooming out and looking back and whatever, then it'll hopefully, after a little while, start looking like a proper kind of complete thought out pattern of shapes and details. And a lot of it's going to sort of fade into kind of shadow. So they save me from 3D modeling the things, manually dragging light around. Yeah, actually though, right? Music got intense, did it? Who was playing? League of Legends, right? No, we don't do self-promo stuff here, but I'm an 80-member community in the Colorado Springs. We're trying to stream our concert this Friday on YouTube. That's pretty rad. That's cool, dude. Fucking crush it, bro. What if Ashley chooses chainmail facing the mask, make it hard on artists to do fan art of her? Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Well, so like this is the kind of thing that's really unfortunate for sketching, because if I was painting this, it'd be way faster and way easier. This would be way easier to paint than it is to sketch. Sketch and line work isn't always easier. It's often more time consuming in the work that I do. To have to hatch and design something like a texture brush could handle this a lot easier. A couple of brushes of texture and a couple of little glints of highlight would solve this immediately. Alas, here we are. Miss Johnson has decided to make my life harder than it need to be. And I blame her entirely. Ashley Johnson, more like Ashley hates artists that do specifically sketch work. We see a couple little flecks of light, a couple little highlights here. Well placed can kind of like sell the story of what's happening a little better than painstakingly drawing every single one. And so, like, where there's washed out light, we're going to think about showing the darkest spaces, and when there's dark, we're going to think about showing the highlights. It's kind of the main way of doing it. And we'll see if we get somewhere with that shit, man. Or if I'm crazy and it'll all fall apart and I'll just have to do something way easier later. Someone thought making a stamp brush for hatch lines would speed up process, but should make things way too stiff. I have to double the work now to make it look more natural. So the if you like the in-between solution, I think, for that is to make selections. So like if I want to add some more depth to something, make a selection as if like, because you do this with painting, right? If you want to like create a highlight, you might make a selection and then you might take your brush. Oops. So you might like make a kind of a random selection like that, and then take your brush and kind of go over it with a large brush stroke texture. But then kind of like, you know. So the same thing's kind of true, I think, with hatching, is you can use selections to sort of mask out an area that you want to add hatching to. And you can't do this that often, or otherwise it looks too stiff. But if you do it once in a while to describe like some larger shadow shapes, and then you sort of like touch it up with some loose kind of like hatching, like some almost like some cross hatching through it, like help kind of carve the shape a little bit, or to sort of like make the edge a little bit less sharp, that can really do some wonders, I think. Carry up the line a little bit more. Yeah, that's my in-between for the two. Because yeah, I absolutely agree that making stamp brushes are almost like one of the great cardinal sins of digital painting, I think. There's like a couple of tools that I think will make you a terrible like artist and like kind of be counterintuitive to you trying to like improve. Layers and stamp brushes are two of the worst ones, the two of the most dangerous tools. You'll see when you see like a big concept artist's like brush profile, whatever, they might have a couple of stamp brushes for things like trees and leaves and shit like that. But understanding why and how they use them is really important. And not trying to skip past and skip over being able to actually do it yourself. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't look very natural. Very challenging, man. Things like scales are very easy to do. This kind of style of like painting the light on, but chainmail I think is a whole different story. That's why I don't do a lot of chainmail, because it's just like it looks cool, but I usually do it in small little like. It's not full facing piece of chainmail. It's usually either like lit properly or something like that. Like I'll do like a pauldron or whatever, and then I'll have like a bit of chain for the shirt. You know what I mean? And then like a gauntlet or whatever. And so this part, like most of it is in shadow. And then so you only need to do like a couple of like little kind of like hints of the light being picked up in sort of like a whatever, and then same thing's true with like the light part. You know what I mean? And so you just kind of like work it out and just like build the texture of it without actually spending a lot of time drawing every little piece. But this is a lot more close up, and it's a lot more like of a broader piece. So we'll have to use this like texture and pull it around a little bit. That or just completely screw the piece, and because it didn't record, we'll just throw it away. And Ashley doesn't get her character art from me. I'll do every single character in Campaign 4 except for her character. And when she sends me a message and she says, "Why, Evan? Why hath you forsaken me?" I'll say, "You know exactly why." In that moment, you'll know. And then I won't draw Travis's character either because he's a fucking furry. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Relax, man. I'm kidding. Holy. I'm half kidding. I'm kidding-ish. One thing I like this artist did is they had reflected light from the hair, bounce light onto the chainmail. It's very clever. Very clever. Not intuitive to do, though. Okay, keep going on the frame here. Oh, I'm not using the mirror brush. How'd that happen? I just realized it's Tuesday. I didn't do a single delve last week. Oh no. My chest is empty. Sorry, I'm having a Warcraft nerd moment, unfortunately. What's up, Ernesto? What if Travis is wondering what it would be like to have a full fur 24/7 after Chetney? Man. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta wonder about it. You gotta wonder, you know? Hey, like... everybody's thought about it at least once. Wait, what? I hit my cough mute button just now, didn't I? Right? Right? I hope so. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody big fan of delves. I like them because I don't play a lot anymore. And so I find them fun little things I can do for 20 minutes in between work. And I don't have to get a group. I don't have to go into Dungeon Finder. I don't have to queue for anything. I just fly to a delve, do a little thing, play a game for 15-20 minutes, and then I get back to work, which is great. I have more or less retired from and given up on any illusions of raiding or whatever, or like playing the game at a satisfying level anymore. The fact that I get to like get heroic tier gear and upgrade it and stuff and get badges to craft stuff and whatnot, I like it, you know? It do get a little repetitive or boring. 100% see that. I understand it. I relate. Feel it. I see it. Fox, thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. Thank you for the Prime. That's very kind of you, my friend. Thank you for considering me your Prime option this month. All the places you can spend your Prime. You chose my little channel. It means a lot, dude. Did you hear cough? I did hear you clear your throat. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, good. Okay, good. Yeah. Excellent. That's what I like to hear. Cool. As long as as long as no one heard my opinions. Yeah. Oh God. Oof. I will admit, I'm not looking forward to Travis's character at all. I do not draw anthro characters all that often, if ever. And we'll see how this one turns out when I have to draw his Lion Man. I don't know, man. I was like 3 and wanted to be a cat and not go to preschool or some other weird excuse. Oh yeah, okay, everyone did that, right? Yep. Wait, what? Bro, I got out of school because of World of Warcraft releases, so I'm not the emblem here for good decision making, I don't think, when it comes to getting out of school for various things. I'm not the guy for that, I don't think. I remember my mom took us out of school for every Lord of the Rings and Star Wars movie. And Harry Potter movie. She was so offended at the idea of us going to school and not going to a Lord of the Rings movie. Like, no son of mine will be stuck inside of a building not watching Return of the King on opening day. Like, okay, Mom. Yep. Cool, Mom. My mom was very cool about that. She valued, obviously my parents valued education in school, but my parents valued greatly the experiencing of life, you know? And I tend to do that with my kids. I'm gonna take them out of school for dumb shit, you know? Like, you can miss a day of school so that we can go to this movie or whatever. Or, like, you know what's one thing that my parents did that was really cool of them? They gave me some I think it was 1 year in junior high, might have been grade 7, but they gave me some. My mom also doesn't remember this, so I could have made it up. She doesn't remember it. I definitely don't think I'm crazy because I remember using this shit. But they basically gave me signed sick notes, like blank checks. Because a lot of times in school, I don't know if you guys ever did this, you'd have to write your own note. You're like, I don't school now, sick. And then you get your mom to, like, you know, do like the big mom signature. And so as long as like mom signed the note, it's like you could write the note and then mom signed it. So my parents basically gave me a bunch of signed sick notes for days that I needed off for whatever reason. You know, like if you're just like not feeling it, if you're having like a really bad day or whatever, got bullied or some shit, or, you know, whatever it is. And they I mean, like, it was a trust thing. It's like, don't abuse it. And like my brother and I never abused that or whatever. We just like, the only time we ever got in trouble is when my brother we went to the same school because he's a couple years older than me. You know those like dumb English books that you get that are kind of shitty? My brother cut holes in his book that he could look through, that he would like look at. He's like looking through the holes in his book where they're supposed to be reading at the teacher. It was our English teacher. We had the same teachers. He was in grade 9, I was in grade 7. And she got so unfathomably mad at him for doing that she's like, I am calling your mom right now. And so I'm home that day legitimately sick. And my brother calls. I'm like, he's like, hey, can I talk to mom? I'm like, she's out getting groceries. Brother's like, shit. Can you just pretend to be mom? Because Mrs. Patterson needs to talk to her. I'm like, why? She's like, because I'm in trouble. And I'm like, And then she takes the phone. She's just like, hi, Evan's mom. This is Mrs. Patterson from where? I want to tell you about what your son did. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, kind of like, oh no. And then at one point she was like, and what do you think about this? And I just kind of was like panicking. I was like, She's like, hello? I'm like, She's like, Evan? I'm like, oh shit, I just hung up the phone. So I got into school the next day and I walked into her class and she's like, now I'm calling your mom. I'm like, ah, shit. That's like one of the only 2 times I ever gotten actual shit at school or whatever. So they let us have these like notes and stuff because we never got in trouble. We never like got into bad shit or whatever. We were good kids, Neither of us, my brother and I, didn't party. We didn't smoke, drink. Look, gambling with trading cards underneath the whatever. That's a whole different thing. But anyway, so we never got in a lot of shit, my brother and I. So we kept our little scam going, our little note scam, where we got to get out of school and we weren't feeling it for years and years. And then in high school you get some more autonomy. You don't need a note. I mean, you kind of still do, but they'll just be like, okay, like, I'll call your mom and whatever because you didn't come to school. And then my parents would always back us up. They'd be like, oh yeah, so and so wasn't in class because, like the other time I got in a lot of shit in high school is when I skipped class because a friend of mine was having a tough time and we got caught. And she was like, ah, shit, what do we do? And we're sitting there getting our fucking stern talking to, and mom's just like, the school called me today. Heard you got caught skipping class. I'm like, yeah, well, so-and-so's like having a hard time at home because whatever. And she's like, oh, well, good on you for being a good friend. Fuck those guys. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot more to growing up than being stuck in school, I think. I think there's value to that, Like, if you have a 15-year-old well, not even, let's say a 10-year-old, that you rip your 10-year-old out of class, like, once a semester, well, once a year, fuck it, to go to the mall and get lunch and basically play fucking hooky, as our parents would say, because they're from an older generation, but to skip school and have, like, a skip school day, like, your kid will never forget that. I never forgot that shit. It meant so much to my friends because my mom would yoink all of us out of class. She would like talk to the moms and she'd be like, hey, the boys really want to see this movie and I'm going to drive them. Is it okay if I drive your sons to see the Lord of the Rings? And some of them weren't okay with it, but my mom still took them anyway. So just don't tell your mom. Don't tell your mom, boys. We're seeing Lord of the Rings. Let's go. That's so much more valuable than, making sure that you're the best student imaginable possible. It's way better than simply being a great student. At least I think so. I could be entirely wrong about this, but to be fair, I actually didn't do anything academic in my life, so maybe I'm not the example here. Maybe I'm the exact reason why you do stay in school and don't skip for any reason. Otherwise, you end up being an artist. I mean, shit, when we were playing D&D and stuff, my parents loved it. My parents fucking loved that we played D&D. Oh, yeah, are you kidding? The amount of things you can get into when you're in high school, the amount of kind of shit you can get in, it like caught up in or whatever. I loved that we played D&D. My brother's out fucking street racing and shit. Meanwhile, I'm just being fat and playing Warcraft D&D. Like, it could have been worse. All right. Give him some Dorito money for the big video game release coming up this weekend. God, if I keep his dumbass out of his fucking car. I think they were scared that I would start like racing and shit. Or getting into nonsense. Look, I was a good kid. I was a good kid. Ish. Just ask Heat Vision next time you see her in chat. She's probably one of the only people that knew me from that time. Alright, what do we think? How are we feeling about this veil? How are we feeling about our chain veil so far? I think it's coming along. I think the texture is building. I think it's working. I think we're getting there. And you guys doubted me. Oh wait, that was all internal voice self-doubt. Shit, never mind. And I doubted me. God, I wish I could sell fucking fan art. Holy shit, could you imagine how much easier my life would be at conventions? If I brought Shadow Honey and Critical Role shit. Critical Role, I'm pretty sure, doesn't let you sell fan art of their IP, right? I think they do in some cases, but you have to be like an approved artist or whatever doing art for them. I don't like MiHoYo and a couple other things lets you sell fan art and make prints and shit. Gotta add in some of our reflected light because this is still a metal surface. Coming along? Alright, good. Look, I appreciate the votes of confidence. Thank you. Right now, I need it. Especially after the misery of losing my recording yesterday, this part of the process is really going to need to be crispy. I'm going to need to have this part of the process on the video longer than the initial part because OBS reasons. Good or bad? With the video back, that really sucks. I think so. There's one program that supposedly can fix and repair video corrupted files. I'm just a little... I don't love downloading a lot of software. I find the computer gets kind of bloated up with it. So I'm trying to figure out the best one for it. And then I'll download it and try and run the video through it. Because, yeah, I mean, it's crazy to say, but... So check this shit out. The video I did for this on TikTok, I know followers aren't everything, whatever, like I get it, I agree. But building a following is necessary to growth as an artist, be able to do my own projects. That is, of 91,000 views, 544 new followers from that one video. So, like, that's pretty cool, hey? Like, that Critical Role fan art paying off right there, you know? So I don't want to... Yeah, I don't want to lose momentum. If TikTok thinks that I'm growing right now and they're going to, like, recommend my content and shit like that, have at it, you know? Does OBS do temp autosave? There might be something in your app data folder. No, I looked for something like that. It's just, it's recording and saving the video as one file, and maybe what I should do is I should, like, do shorter Okay, I ended my recording there just real quick. And record the whole process today. Shut up, Evan. Yeah, so what we did today, I'll like break it until I figure this problem out. I'll like break it into. I've never had this happen before. A recording just not work. So I don't know. But maybe if I gotta hit the record button. I'm using. I think maybe part of the problem is that I'm using apps that don't get along or plugins that don't get along, and that could have been it. So now I'm using all one thing, and it should be happy and whatever. We shall see. I need to give her, I think, a tone layer for her because her skin is a deeper purple, rather than just leaving it super bright. Do like a 25% fill. There we go. Big old Yoda looking elf ears. Yeah, that works. That works. Okay. Give me a second. I need to grab something real quick. Gloves off. I can't believe there hasn't been revolts this week. I'm proud of you guys. All right. All right. All right. We're good. But what? Oh my God, Valus art. Where did this come from? What the hell? Just white eyebrows, right? Eh. Creative liberties, all right. Creative liberties. I always find drawing characters with like bright white eyebrows kind of loses some detail, and I don't know. Everything washes out a little bit in a way that I don't love. Bit dark, actually. Let's go lighten up a little bit. There we go. Who's next after Valus, though? Quick, somebody look at the TikTok comments. Tell me what the requests were for. I saw a lot of Thimble. A lot of people wanted Thimble. Maybe Cadigan? Kinda cool. Well, I do the fucking dog and the fox too, don't I? Shit, man. So many characters, bro. White eyelashes always throw me off. Yeah. Yeah, there needs to be like some good contrast in there if they are to be. Ooh, what the fuck? The hell happened here, man? And then what we'll do is we'll grab our brush here and hatch out some highlights for her. It's like, I know the term doesn't really exist, but reverse hatching is always a very satisfying part of the process. I mean, highlighting always looks good, right?
Tammy Waves short visit.
Yo, Dabby, what's up, dude? Hello. Thanks for the sub, man. Thanks for the 11 months. Good God. What's up, dude? Good to see you. What's been chilling? Gaming and snackies going well, hopefully. Thanks for sub, dude. Appreciate it. Time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cool. I think I need to kill some of the line work on. We'll lighten this up a little bit. Doesn't need to be as so aggressively drawn. Looks less like scars and more like kind of vines, and it's not what I'm going for here. Looks okay. Looks kind of decent. Photoshop. Is Photoshop and a Cintiq 24. So, oh god. There we go. That arm's stiff. That monitor arm, I forgot I tightened it. Do not move tablet. Nope. We'll give her a little bit of highlighting and things like that. So we'll do another 20%. I've been doing this more recently. Another 20% layer. Calling it shade or shadows. Maybe make it a little bit more. And painting a little bit. So we'll grab our, like, make a selection out of this. And then go to our shadow layer and sort of paint in just a little bit of depth for it. Just to help complement the hatching. I've been enjoying doing this recently. See, it's like not a lot, but the difference there? It makes it, I feel like. And same thing for like the hair or whatever. It won't look, well, it doesn't feel anyway like I'm doing anything as I'm doing it. But then you like hide the layer and you're like, oh damn, you know? Okay. I feel like the veil here. Like super aggressive, just very textured brush, very loose. Painterly, kind of fits in. Not overthinking anything. Doesn't have to be particularly clean or follow the existing shadows or anything. A little bit of depth. And when I go and hide everything, or the work we just did on it, see, it's just enough to make it look a little bit more deep. Okay. Remember stretch? Oh, thanks, Nick. I gotta do my stretches. Stretch has really been helping, honestly. Saw the physio today, and he was like, yeah, man, I think you can probably cancel your appointments for your, like, expensive fucking injections and shit. I was gonna get these, like, annoying injections in my elbow and arm to help with the finger pain. And the stretches, he's like, they're seem to be progressing, and really wanted to avoid, you know, paying $600 for a plasma injection. God, man, can you imagine? Just finish this and we'll do my little cat paw stretches and shit. We'll chill for a minute. While I examine my look of disdain from our Valus. I have to really bring a lot of attention to her eyes, because, like, we don't have a whole lot to go on for her expressive gaze. Okay. Oof. Alright, everybody stop drawing. Time for some wrist stretches. Cat paws, boys, cat paws. Super easy. God, it feels dumb. Just stop what I'm doing just to... Ugh. New viewer pops in. What the fuck? 2 down, 11 to go. Let's go, dude. Yeah, for real, right? Oh man, thanks, Brooklyn. Glad you like her. It means a lot. So I did this little thing for like a background thing for Tyranny. The little like light symbol. I might try and do something so like I wish I had an order symbol for Valus that I could do in the background. You know, something that kind of fits with her design. I don't know what it would be though. Will you do eyes would be my favorite thing? You know, I like the way that the process or whatever of how I handle characters' eyes too. So that means a lot. Thank you. It took me a long time to figure out what to do with like stylization for features is like such a complicated thing. And like the meme about like the smolder or whatever is like fair enough, but God, it's crazy to like the art that I make. It's insane. It's such like a weird concept. Recent campaign 4? Yes, this is I'm doing once a week. I'm doing a portrait of each of the party members because I don't typically do a lot of fan art, like ever. Most of the work that I do, if it's not commission work, is work for my own setting that I build. About 60% of the work I do is my own original sort of like IP that I'm building, I guess you'd say, my own game. So I don't do a lot of fan art ever. But this campaign, I wanted to follow along. I wanted to like be there for the whole thing. I wanted to like try and stay up to date. And just like kind of be part of the hype of a new Critical Role campaign, you know? And so I want to do some fan art every week for it. And yeah, it's been fun, actually. I've been enjoying it. You see if I can like try and build some highlight into her eyebrows just to lighten it up a little bit. It's all right. I actually don't mind that. I actually don't mind that. Gotta bring more attention to the eyes. I'm guessing her character is like, I think she said that she was wearing this like mourning veil. That like her order or whatever is like mourning the death of their god or something. I think they said that in the world building, that the gods are dead. I think that's like spoiler territory. I think that's like pre-game knowledge. Obviously, remember the rules. We're giving it 3 weeks. We're giving each game 3 weeks before we talk about spoilers from it. So it's fun to actually watch it live and never get to do that with the other campaigns. Yeah, right? It's cool to be part of a thing. Like hype is real. And artificial hype is still real. It's like you know the saying, you can't fake courage. Like you can't fake hype either. I don't think. And so it's really fun. Like I always loved that about like seasons of Diablo when I used to play Diablo 3 and stuff like that. A new season of the game would come out and it'd be the same fucking game that we all played, but it's just like, yo, we're all gonna get super excited to play our game, you know? And I think that's like real and powerful and awesome and fun. And the same thing is with like Critical Role. There's like something fun about watching it live. Like I have a friend who has an opinion that basically if your game isn't interactable, why stream it on Twitch? And I thought I'd think about that for a while because I think that she's right with it. She has a very good intuition on it. But there's a part of me that just can't get past. There's just something about watching the game live, even if it's like a recorded, like pre-recorded, whatever, Critical Role. Like I get it. They changed that. They pre-record everything and whatnot. But just watching the game live every Thursday, looking forward to there being a thing on this one day of the week to go do. Or for me, it's been for the last 2 weeks, I've been watching it on Friday mornings because I've been obviously off doing stuff, and I didn't have anything to do on Fridays. Like I didn't have to take anybody to the hospital or anything like that. So I was just chilling Friday mornings watching it. Or for me now, it will be Mondays now that I stream during both those times and I'm back. It'll be like Monday when it comes out on the VOD. I'll watch it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in the evenings when I'm working. That's fun. It's still something to be excited about, you know? And I think that's awesome, is to have something to look forward to weekly. Shows or whatever. And I'm not a big TV guy, so I don't watch a lot of like Netflix specials and Disney whatevers. The only like kind of TV I'll usually watch is like Star Wars TV shows, like Andor or whatever. So I don't have a lot to be excited for week to week, you know? You've no idea the temptation just to throw some color on this, you know? Like, I'm just going to end the recording here and then mess around for a minute. The temptation to like make a layer under all of this and just throw some like desaturated sort of color into it. But I honestly really don't believe that the hatching that I do takes to color if I go this deep. Like, I have to know I'm going to do color earlier on so that I don't identify so many of the shadows with straight up hatching. Otherwise, it gets too dark and muddy. And that's been a problem in the past with pieces that I've done. That's why I'm avoiding it right now. you know. But like the temptation is there to just do this for these characters, especially a character like Valus that has so many like cool kind of like contrasting shapes of color against the black and white. It's very tempting to do something like this, but I don't know. I know, kind of like sours it a little bit when you then see it without. All right, for the background, Tyranny, what do I do for her? Tyranny has this kind of like just sort of shape behind her. Valus, what do I do for Valus? Don't know what her order's crest or sigil or whatever. Start coloring over the hatches with a darker tone and a mask. Yeah, it gets very muddy because it'll multiply. Not even if it isn't on multiply, it'll still the color will still multiply over the hatching to be more desaturated, and so I could theoretically, with a gradient mask or do a color selection, pull the color up from it. Like there's things I think I could do with that. But I don't know. Like an example of a piece that I've done like color and hatching on is this piece I did for Miniful, which took me forever. Minnie's a friend of mine and she's a VTuber. And so I did this piece for her that is a fan art piece for a friend, and so you'll see that like a lot of I colored in the hatching, so it's blue where the hair is blue. It's kind of gold to like match the gold. It was like sort of cool for the armor, and this is fun. It takes a billion years to do. And yeah, I don't know what the results like, because like here's an example of then one that I didn't do that, where I just left the hatching dark. Was this piece for Muabel, who's another VTuber fan art thing where I did kind of in my style, and so I left the hatching dark though here. I think I changed the hatching color a little bit, like around the face, the dark tones around, like you see the red in the line work here versus everywhere else is like kind of dark, just because there's something about the dark around like skin, like the nose, lips, kind of cheeks type thing. When you have the around the eyes, it's like fine for it to be darker, but like nose, lips type things, it's fingernails, it gets a little weird if it's too dark. But yeah, for the most part. And then also like when like these sort of like flares of light I did on top of the whole thing so that it did wash out and bleed into the actual hatching a little bit. So there's ways to do it. I'm just never really super satisfied with the result, you know? I'm never super happy with it. It never like really hits the way I want it to. So I don't know. I think that just like full on painting is better for portraiture for me. I just haven't done painted portraiture in a long time, and getting that skill back up to standard is a painful process. So I'm not working on it too hard or whatever. The gods are dead and we literally killed them isn't a spoiler. It's something that's been known for like 2 months before the game started. Right? Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you. How do you feel about eventually drawing Belair? Do you think drawing the mask face will be fun or not your thing? Definitely not my thing. Definitely. Like I don't love the character design. Like if you were to just tell me, like, if you were to say something along the lines of like a character with a mask and like kind of a mane of hair coming out of them, the way I would handle that design challenge or whatever, I would probably do something a little more otherworldly. And like the idea of like sort of the theater mask with the creepy smile, that's very traditional in theater, whatever. I would probably, if I was drawing a masked character that had some kind of like, I don't know, I'd probably do something more like some kind of like Venetian mask. Maybe make it like, if I was drawing a masked character like this, I'd probably do something different with the mask. you know, and then he has his curly hair kind of coming out as this like cool mane, and then like I don't know, I probably not elect to do the sort of the smiling creepy kind of like theater mask or whatever it is that I think he's got like what, like these like dark kind of like intense eyes, and then like kind of the lines following the it's theater, it's like, you know, clown like and whatever, and it's cool. It's just not the way I would probably handle that kind of a design challenge. So I'm not like super, it's not the most like exciting character for me to want to draw. But the thing is that in finding characters that are not super exciting, I find that that's where sometimes the greatest like design study comes from. Because like one of the cool things about doing these like sort of fan art or whatever is fan art's actually a really good way to sort of develop maybe a expanded understanding of designs, and you can basically do a design study. And so seeing just like even the way that like maybe they handle like they handle belt clasps in a really interesting kind of way, and like something that's a detail you wouldn't have really noticed and picked up on that much until you had to like draw it yourself. So going through that and figuring and finding that, you know, kind of like there's not much here that is like very interesting to me, I guess. It's her design, and like I like the design, but like from, we're just talking about design standpoint, like not just aesthetics. The aesthetics are really cool. She's a really cool character, but there's nothing really interesting going on with a veil and long straight hair and a chainmail whatever, and then this kind of like nun's outfit or cardinal's kind of whatever garb. It's very cool. It's a great design, but it's not like there's elegance in the simplicity. There's not a lot to like discover in it. You know what I mean? But if you take a character like Belair, if I was doing a full body version of Belair has a lot of really great, like intricate, interesting design elements that the artist created. You know, even the way the belts match up, or this kind of like this, I don't know what to call this, but this like, I see a couple characters with it, this like kind of Italian sort of sleeve that's sort of broken up and has your sort of like main, you know, these kind of wraps and layers of fabric and cloth on it, with this kind of like internal kind of stitched sleeve showing through this like fabric that kind of creates a really interesting silhouette. Like that's cool, and having to draw that yourself, I might not ever put that on a character. But doing it once would maybe inspire something. Like imagine if I'm doing like a knight later, and I can kind of like use that sleeve as kind of a replacement for tabard on like a paladin, and you can imagine like just changing the silhouette up and like adding gauntlets and stuff and making it, but still using that kind of like silhouette of that puffy sleeve or whatever, which I do occasionally. And that's cool. This is the stuff that I think is really interesting design wise, because it makes you think about how to handle sleeves or jackets or whatever different. And so there's like really cool stuff in that for doing fan art studies. Like Tyranny and Valus, there's not much interesting going on with the kind of the portraiture of them, and also overall the outfit, like as cool and again as aesthetic and awesome as the chains are, or the ruffles and frills and stuff on the character, it's not like I'm not learning anything new, you know. But like for this Azune, like there's interesting kind of like ways of doing the armor. Like when I that was awesome doing that like piece that I did for Tank all those weeks ago. Where's Tank at? You know, or Torben, I guess this is. But like doing the armor, like the kind of studded leather armor, like this was a challenge to try and do, but it was really cool. Or doing the Celtic kind of knot work and different stitching and different like kind of leather, like a thick leather cord stitch around the frame of leather. Like this kind of stuff that I would never do in my work. So integrating that kind of idea in there is really cool, and it's fun, and that's what I love about doing fan art. And so I want to do more of it. Oh, there's Stimpack. Here we go. But for Critical Role, there's a lot of designs that I'm excited about, and a lot of them kind of like, how am I going to handle this? The two that I'm looking forward to the least, in that like I think are going to be the most challenging for me to sort of articulate. The three, I guess, are going to be Belair and what's Travis's character name, and then Murray. Those are going to be the ones that I think are the most challenging for me to really do. Like one of the most interesting characters that I think I always want to do a portrait of, that I might actually paint, because like fuck it, who cares, is I really love like Fern. You know, like even just in portraiture, but the entire design is like really cool, right? It's like you have all those sort of elegant ruffles and different sort of like trims and details and like really interesting anatomy of cloth, but then you also have just this like ridiculous sort of like cacophony of nature just sort of pouring out of her character. And so to me, that's like really interesting as a challenge, and to like study the way to kind of like throw all those designs in there. So maybe I'll go back and do some old characters, but then you take another character from like campaign 2 that's a little bit like in portrait only is a little bit more difficult to sort of get much out of, and you know, like Bo is not a character that I would like learn a lot from doing a study from necessarily, but you never know, you know, sometimes shit hits you in ways you didn't expect. You're like, oh damn. So doing like a full body study, like definitely there's some cool stuff in there, but just portraiture is like, you wouldn't get much from that maybe from doing a study. But so Galactus is really nice. Yeah, on Torben, yeah, there's a lot of work to do, so I don't know, man. Okay, background for Valus. What are you gonna do here? Valus background. How do you want to handle this? How do you want to do it? Let's do something. Gosh, what do we have any information for order? Let me dig this for a minute. Valus is oh my god, the amount of fucking ads that I'm getting assaulted with right now is unholy. Okay, where's like an order seal or symbol or whatever? We have her order. No. What the fuck are with all the ads? I know, right? We did a frame similar to her mace. Yeah, like take like a quality of the character. Doesn't have to be their like logo or whatever, but just do something that sort of is a resembles, or like a chain type thing could work with that as well. Oh, that's cute. I love the enthusiasm from the Critical Role art community. Oh, that's that's Prince. Whoops. Well, whatever. I don't have anything for that then. Damn it. Damn it. Do something elegant like her sensor and chains and what are we feeling? This might have to be future Evan's problem. We may have to run it to future Evan let him figure it out. Force him into handling the problems that I so keenly and confidently avoid. I really wanted to finish this before I ended stream today, so let me think for a second. In the past, what have I done for characters? I've also done like kind of like splashes of texture in the background of characters. I don't do them a lot here, but I've done splashes of texture in the background. I did for all the fan art piece I did for the War of the Realms game for that crew. I did these like rings in the background. They're kind of cool. The rings are neat. They're decent. They kind of like, they're sort of like kind of almost like Orthodox and Byzantine like icon artwork. God, I love the pieces I did for Brooklyn and Sabine. What the fuck, man? I really love the pieces I did for them. I just keep seeing them pop up. Okay, anyway. For Ella, I did this kind of like Halo thing again. Halo works for a lot of characters. And then for the commission I did for these guys, I did similar kind of like spiky Halo. For the Astral Knights, I gave them an astral ring from the Knight Order behind them, and that kind of... There's something about the ring that just frames the characters. Maybe I just keep doing that. And I make it sort of like a staple. I made a ton of fucking art this year. Holy shit. I forgot about this piece entirely. Not this piece. That part of the video. Get to it. Quit yapping, Evan. There we go. No, damn it. Whatever this character was. I made a shit ton of art this year. Holy, dude, did I actually do stuff? Did I actually do work this year? Did I actually put effort in? Oh my god. I think this is the first piece. I think this is the first piece I posted this year. When was this one? 40 weeks ago? I don't know when that is. Okay, around there then. But yeah, all of this was this year. Oh my god. And the year's not even over. My god. A moon would be kind of a good way of doing it. Like kind of a moon with the full outline, kind of being eclipsed or whatever. Still so obsessed. We'll be obsessed forever. Oh man, you're the best, Brooklyn. You're the best. How much is generally described to you in those requests, and how much is your own creativity? So the in my what I say for these is give me a few general details such as hairstyle, markings, race, species, class, accessories, and vibe. This is a brand new design from me and won't be based off any existing designs or reference images, so please do not attach any. I'll create something in my design style for you based on the description provided. As an example for we'll just use one of Brooklyn's characters because she's here. And she's been okay with me using it as an example in the past. Unless I'm wrong, in which case, tell me right now, Brooklyn. Show more. We'll use who should we use? Let's do the first one I just showed. So new details. Nope, that's Sabine. Nope, that's Samurai. What's up, Legion? Let's Brooklyn. There we go. This is for Addie. So Brooklyn says Addie is very carefree. So I like descriptions of the character because the vibe of the character and their story is very useful for me to try and communicate like more than just the details. So Addie's a very carefree, optimistic, happy, free-spirited personality, and that is sorry. Well, let me get this character up. That is I don't see Addie on here. That's his character. So the description for her was, she's fun, flirty, loves to laugh, loves to make other people laugh too. She loves to play her instrument, write songs about adventuring, party, make bad puns, and eat big breakfasts. Her visual vibe is cute and adorable, hence her name, though not childish. She has a very feminine elegance and beauty about her as well. There's a corset over an off-the-shoulder blouse, lots of dainty earrings, as well as some jewelry on her horns. Other details, Addie is in her mid-20s. She has long curly dark hair that she wears loose. Her horns protrude from the top of her head and curve backwards towards the back of her head, with the very tips curved to a point upwards. Her horns are black and smooth and also have a glossy appearance on them to make them look similar to obsidian. She has dark eyes with some lighter flecks of gold in them. She's quite full in the bust, and her skin tone is tan/olive complexion. Lastly, if you choose to draw her smiling with teeth visible, she does have pointed canine teeth, though not sharp as a vampire or anything like that. That is on probably the top end of the amount of visual description I get. Some people are way less. They're like gremlin, cave dwelling, dwarf, miner, full beard. Right? And you're like, okay. So, I mean, that's great because see, I like that is the top end. So that is the difference between particular and picky. So particular, I fucking love. All right, is so good. Picky is where it gets tough, right? So all of those details are very particular and awesome and super like inspiring. We could, you know what, fuck it, we'll just talk about Brooklyn's being awesome because they were the first people that sort of gave me really great like character designs for this. They were, when I first opened this. One thing that I got from people early on, like Steve with his characters he's requested have all been awesome, is basically you have a short paragraph to inspire me. And the more interesting the description of your character as far as an inspiration to storytelling, the better it usually works. So that was great. It was about as long. It's like I said, it's on the taller end of specificity. Definitely I've gotten longer paragraphs of people. So it's very so like this is perfect. This is the like class. This is the perfect like description. You know, it's concise. It's to the point. It's detailed. It's inspiring. It's awesome. And so there's lots of things about like her expression and the sort of the shoulder, the looking, the raise, whatever. Like a lot of what I tried to communicate with this character is the sort of fun, flirty, sort of kind of innocent with like just a hint of like edge to it, whatever, and then the daintiness and the beauty and her sort of like kind of reveling in the click clacks and trinkets and jewelry and whatnot. And so I love that kind of stuff. So sometimes I get a lot more, and people will try and get too specific, and I'll always try and work within that framework. But again, specificity is fine. Pickiness is different, where it's just like, well, I wanted the horns to be like, 3 inches longer. It's like, oh, God, okay. Like that would be the difference between specific and picky is Brooklyn saying black, obsidian, smooth horns that go from the top of her head, go back and curl to a point. That's different than like saying ridged horns that have 56 ridges in them for all 56 years he's been alive, that curl to the top of the head, one head length above from wherever. It's like that stuff is like, that's picky, and picky is hard, right, to manage and how hard to design around. So particular is great, and that's kind of the difference between it. So yeah, I mean, these are great. Like I have one for Silesian. Yes, I just like glanced down just to see Silesian. Yeah, I have one from Silesian I haven't read yet that I'll probably be starting in the next week or so. Maybe we might actually do that this week. We might get to it. And I'm excited for that because like people have just been so cool about like sharing their characters with me. It's like one of the coolest things that I get to do is commissions in this style. So yeah, that's like usually the amount of description I get. If I get like when it comes to a commission sort of like thing, a formal commission, just being honest, if I get the sense from somebody that they are because I'm sure that I could have given Brooklyn this piece. And maybe this is a bad example because Brooklyn's always been so like, you fucking nailed this exactly, whatever, shut up, nerd. Like, this one might have been just a one and done. But let's say I gave this back to Brooklyn and said, hey, revision time, we're doing big formal commission. Brooklyn might have said, hey, I love the jewelry, but can it be more elf-like, and can there be more chains? Or I don't really love the, I love the chains dangling. Can we do more gems on them or whatever? Can the shirt have more frills or something like things like that? Those are great little revisions and stuff. And there might have been revisions, but if I'm talking to somebody early on in the process, like one thing I think is very important for artists to do is be willing to fire clients, right? And fire is like an aggressive term that is not supposed to be aggressive, but firing your client is a term used in graphic design often. And because I did that for so long, when I gave up my art career to do graphic design, to then realize I hated that and come back to art, I spent a lot of time, I got really well known in my region as like a good graphic designer. I'm really proud of that time I spent there. Hated it, but proud of it. And so I learned how to deal with clients really well during that time. So when I came into art, I was not like afraid of clients necessarily when I came in, like a lot of brand new artists were when they start their career. So firing your client is something you have to do often. If somebody says, like, if they're like, no, I want orange arrows, my logo is only orange arrows, and you're like, that's dumb, and I'm your graphic designer, so I'm going to tell you how to. Your goal is to communicate that you're a reliable shipping company. Orange arrows, that we can do something so much better than that. And they're like, no, I know orange arrows are the future. I've invested all my Ethereum into orange arrow coin, and that's what we're doing, baby. You'd be like, well, that's dumb, and you don't know what you're talking about, and I'm not saying any of this out loud, and I'm firing you as a client. So, hey man, wow, I don't think I'm the right artist for you or graphic designer for you. I think what you want is somebody who specializes in orange arrows. So I really thank you so much for the opportunity of working with you. It was so much fun talking to you, getting to know you on the project. But before we actually exchange money and whatnot and put a balance down, I really think that I'm not going to do as good of a job for you as someone who draws orange arrows all day. And so I'm really picky about who I let like hire me when it comes to commissions. So if I have, let's say, 100 commission requests and 10 of them accept my price point, I'll only work with 5 of them. That's like a limiting factor, because if I start talking to someone, be like, hey, kind of what are you feeling like? Can you describe your character a little bit so I can price it out and tell someone like, hey, I want like a character that's like a paladin, but they're like a Machamp, so they've got like 4 arms, but each arm they're holding another paladin. It's like, okay, well, that needs to be a more expensive project. But while I'm pricing out a piece, I will be listening to the way they're talking about it, listening to what they want, listening to sort of how they're addressing details, how specific, how picky, how particular. And I'm sitting there like the power structure, I think, with artists, they think it's all client. I don't work for people. I work with people. That's a big difference. And obviously you're working for it. And I say, oh, I worked for Brooklyn on this, and I'm happy to say that. But realistically, lots of people want to hire an artist because they want the experience of working with them and an artist doing something bespoke and beautiful for them specifically, and that's awesome. But some people kind of, I don't know what the right term is, but they kind of get off on the whole like power trip of like, you're my artist working for me and I'm the boss, I'm art directing. It's like, you can detect that usually very early on. If I get that, they're gone. I'm like, hey, this is so cool, I don't think I'm the artist for you for this, like, have fun. Or if their details are like, I'm like, you want something completely different from the how I would handle this project, and you're not going to like what I'm doing because you have an idea in your head and you know what you want, and you want exactly that. You want to hire what we call creative hands in the graphic design industry, again, where a client says, I want orange arrows and they're all pointing here, and just do it. Just do it so it looks, just do the thing. You're not hiring a designer then. You're hiring creative hands who are proficient in Adobe Illustrator to create your idea into a vector. I don't do that with art either, because that stuff is soul sucking for me. Lots of artists love that. They're like, oh, please just tell me exactly what you want. I'll deliver it. There you go. And that's awesome. They love that shit. They turn their brain off, just do the thing, autopilot, get the project, get paid. Fucking sick, man. Like, let's go. But in that process, again, for me, that's soul sucking. Other artists, that's invigorating and awesome, and a lottery client, for me, that's my worst nightmare. So again, the power structure is it's for me, it's always 50-50. Yes, I'm trying to like convince you to hire me because I want to work, right? But at the same time, I'm also interviewing you to see if I even want to fucking work with you, you know, as a client, like the rhetorical you, not anyone in particular, just rhetorically. And it's important for me to do. And it's important, I think, for artists to have a backing so that you're not ever desperate to the point where you are giving all the power to a client to tell you to do anything, to say, get you to do whatever, to say that you need to do this or that or whatever, things that you don't want to do or you think are bad or whatever, because there is kind of a divide in there, a little bit of a balance of like, yes, you have your art direction, whatever, and you know what you're talking about, but also I'm pretty good at taking your ideas and like putting it to a design. So like, let me help you. Let's work together on this. So yeah, firing your clients or being particular or whatever is like very important. And like, I God help me if I ever get desperate enough that I'm just like accepting clients, whatever. That's why the request style commissions, a lot of artists will do their commissions through Coffee. I don't do formal commissions through Coffee. I only do them request style because I've made it as foolproof as I can so that anybody can kind of give me like, no matter, even if you're the most picky person in the world, a couple of sentences can only do so much damage. Now, thankfully, this hasn't happened at all yet since I started doing Coffee, like portrait requests, but I've formatted in a way so that if I do find the pickiest of picky people, I can still have enough room to take their extreme specific whatever pickiness and put it into a design that I think is like very well rounded and create a design around it that complements those exact particular things, as opposed to more general things like, oh, braided ponytail, whatever, this, that, or whatever. You know, it's like braids with the number 4 in each one of them, that it's upside down on the 5th braid. And you're like, okay, got it. Let me put a design around that brings it together. I don't know, dog. Remember what I said for the extra image on the mine? It wasn't much, but you nailed it from the vibe. Well, yeah, you gave me great vibes, Steve, as well. So that's part of the thing too, is like being able to articulate the vibe you want really well to an artist that hopefully knows how to like capture the vibe. A lot of times when people say, oh, my artist is terrible, they didn't capture my character at all, and I'm like, oh, what did you tell them? And I think to myself, you didn't tell them anything important, right? Like a bad vibe for a character, like if Brooklyn was trying to describe Addie and she was like, Addie is young and ready for adventure and doesn't like dinner and lunch. It's like, what? Wait, hold on. The fuck? You know, it's kind of hard to build around that. So I really do think that like legitimately, mostly almost everyone, maybe this is like people that are in my sphere of D&D are very like narrative focused, and maybe that makes them all better natural sort of storytellers or practice storytellers. But legitimately, I'm really honestly impressed by like basically everybody that's like requested characters from me. They've been really fucking cool designs, you know, really cool, like inspiring descriptions, you know. Sounds like a very healthy way to solve the issue of pickiness. It is, but the thing is that I don't ever get to do big projects, right? So like big, like you know what, the portraits are great, but like the last big commission I did before I had to put commissions on hiatus for a little while was working for Mr. Pixel and Mrs. Pixel and doing Nakia, and it's like one of my favorite pieces I've done in a long time, one of my favorite designs. And they were great to work with. And also they asked me to do sort of this astral stuff around the time I was building Astral Knights. Super cool shit, you know, and I actually used reference art that Wiluna did for this piece. So the one thing about this is that I don't, with doing like request style things, I'm not doing big like 40-hour character portraits like this anymore. And I would like to get back to these. So I'm contemplating adding in to my Coffee full character designs. And they're going to be somewhere in between what a commission would cost and, right? Like there's definitely going to be a heavy discount for it being no revisions. But it still needs to be like, obviously I can't be just sinking my time for no reason, you know, into whatever. That's going to take me still like 30 hours of drawing. And then I just like cut off the 10 hours of like talking and back and forth on stuff and having to wait for messages and emails and DMs and then respond to this and that, whatever. So I think I'm going to add these once I get caught up with my work. I'm going to add bigger portrait or bigger like full character designs, still request style to my coffee. And then it's also more affordable because, to be honest, something like this would cost somebody like $800 now, based on my current pricing structure. I know it just makes my work unobtainable for way too many people that I would like to do work for. So if I kind of meet in the middle of like lowering that price point down quite a bit, but then it's request style, so you have to like kind of nail the vibe right then and there. But like if somebody like Brooklyn gave me a character for Addie, like I could do the rest of Addie easy based on that description. So I kind of have to like hope for, like, cross my fingers that people that would want something like that and are willing to invest something like that into, you know, a couple $100s into a piece like this would be good at describing. Or I can maybe find some questions that I can ask as a uniform sort of like kind of almost thing of like, hey, can you answer these questions for me, that will hopefully inspire or prompt better descriptions. Because like when I'm talking to a client one-on-one, I try and ask a lot of questions that I think pulls that out from people. And one of the coolest compliments I ever got from somebody who was actually another artist, and she was like, I learned so much from you on how to talk to clients, Evan. And I was like, why? She's like, because the questions you asked me pulled better answers out of me. And I was like, oh shit. So that was a really proud moment for me when I got recognized for being able to do that. And so like sometimes I'll even like depending on the person, if we're talking on Discord for like an hour or whatever about their character, I'll sometimes depending on the person, I'll sometimes RP with them, right? I'll be like, okay, so like, you know, you've got this cool kind of rough and tumble like adventurer, like, okay, cool, like Addie, fun loving, whatever. All right, like Brooklyn, you know, you're let's paint me a picture here. Okay, so imagine you're in this town or whatever, and you know, you walk into the bar and you see a, you know, a disheveled looking sort of bartender cleaning a glass, and he glances up at you and kind of looks like rolls his eyes like you're just some like random adventurer and whatever, but you need some information out of like, what do you do, right? And then some people are like, they go full into it. They're like, oh fuck it, okay, all right, I walk up, greetings, oh bartender, and I'll like RP them with them like a little like bartender thing or whatever, something like that, just to get them to talk about their character, describe, or like because they'll tell me the vibe of their character. If they're not good at articulating it through like just like description or whatever, they are great at articulating it through RP. Sometimes people get kind of nervous and shy. It's like a little weird. It's like, you know, if you're the kind of person that needs the ice broken at D&D, it's like this random artist is just like, let's RP now, like whatever, and you're like, oh, I need to prepare, I need to whatever, I'm not comfortable. Like that's totally, I get that too, you know, like shameless DM Evan can throw away and cast aside all sort of social pretext at any point in time and just go full into character. But I know with a lot of people it's hard to kind of get into, especially with a stranger like me. If you knew me from TikTok or something like that and you're like, oh, just asking. So I don't usually do that with a lot of people, but whatever it is, like having that long conversation with somebody, maybe if I can find a way to kind of distill some of the questions I ask, like a question I ask that I really like, that's really useful, is what do they want other people to think about them? And what do they look like when they're at their best, when they're being heroic? And you get people saying like, oh, shining light, standing at the front of the party, shield in hand, sword above, you know, channeling the divine, like you get that. Or you'll get like, oh, swooping into the combat off of a rope from the up high to slash the enemy and steal the whatever, and haha, you know, like when you ask people, there's certain questions I can put into like kind of a small questionnaire in addition to the details for bigger characters to really pull some of that out of people maybe. So I don't know, I'm thinking about that. So stare at my Vesper print like this every day, really? Oh man, you making me blush, bro. If you're opening for your request for full care designs, I'll ignore my bank account in that moment. I'll make sure not to tell you when I do, because it's going to be sooner than later, so. I already have the portrait of Addie. Wait, I know I can request a full version of her with confidence. Ooh, I'm inspired. I'm inspired by the confidence. The confidence is inspiring. All right. I'm thinking about doing a request when I have money for it. I was afraid to be too descriptive or tell too much. It sounds like I'm safe. Nah, you're. Some people will tell me entire backstories, and like, I think that if you give people a railing to operate within, right, and then also a end point they're trying to shoot towards and go in a direction towards, I think it's really cool to see how awesome stories, like I would love to just like read off coffee descriptions of characters and then just like tell you guys, and this is how I arrived at certain designs. you know. I mean, kind of did that a little bit for Addy, but I could tell you specifics, like even specifics in the lean back, you know, and the eyes to the side, whatever. Specifics in the beauty mole on the bust. Specifics like the thicker eyebrows, you know, to indicate sort of youthful whatever. Specifics in the type of jewelry. Like, there's a lot of decision making process that goes into this based off of vibes and gut checks. That's why I think like trusting your instincts, intuitions, and trusting your gut is a lot more useful as an artist and as a designer and as a storyteller than I think people give you credit for. Sometimes people will ask me, like, for instance, Evan, I can't believe all the Astral Knights all have to use Astral longswords. What if I want to be a knight that uses an Astral axe? And I'm like, doesn't fit the vibe. Gut check, knightly longswords way cooler than axes. So they all learn it, and then having them be super specifically trained. It's kind of like a very interesting sort of way to see that I think that a lot of people don't trust their gut on this is a video, and I don't want to shit on any comments specifically because I think that people are awesome for like responding to my video, but I learned a lot from a video in particular where I basically say, what kind of fantasy do you like? And I like people saying, like, they give me lots of responses, you know, classical medieval fantasy all the way, Cloak of the Swords and Dragons, prefer middle ground. Personally, technology exists, but it's new. Like, I get a lot of really great sort of like descriptions here, but then you get people sort of trying to bend the rules, and they're like, well, remember, because guns were available in like, you know, 1542 in whatever, and then, you know, Turkish blah blah blah, then you can have guns in your fantasy, and gun blades are, and people try and kind of like bend the rules, but it's like gut check, intuition. Nobody thinks guns belong in medieval fantasy. That takes you out of it immediately. Pirate D&D feels a little bit different, but like, it's also the kind of the Star Wars answer. Is Star Wars a fantasy or a science fiction? Gut check. Intuition. Trust your instincts. Is Star Wars science fiction or fantasy? And everyone, 100% of people say it's science fiction. Oh, Star Wars is sci-fi. You get occasionally, and more often than I'd like, people trying to be particular, like, well, actually, you know, it uses space magic, whatever. It's a space opera fantasy with sci-fi technology elements in it. Like, you're overthinking it, dog. Like I surveyed 100 people and I asked them, check the box, science fiction or fantasy. Now I'm pointing a gun at your fucking dog. And if you tell me the wrong answer, your dog dies. Which is it? Gut check. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like, just if you're forced to commit, you're like, okay, yeah, it's sci-fi. It's sci-fi. It's spaceships, lasers, whatever, sci-fi, you know? Same thing with like, I don't know, Arcane. Arcane's tougher, but the point is that you can trust your gut on a lot of these things and intuition, and it leads you generally to the right place, I think, more often than not. And trying to outsmart or like intellectualize or overanalyze a lot of these things with vibes of characters and things like that is just not productive, I think, for like good designers and good like character designs and whatever. So Hair Cannon Asmai is the one with the dog girl. Shut up. Needs to be balance of depth and detail without making Evan read a whole 10-page essay. You know, Sabine, I had one person like 3 years ago say that they wanted to commission me, and I was like, okay, cool. Sure. Yeah, all right, I'll work for you. They're like, I have my character's backstory that I want you to read. And I'm like, great. I love working off of backstories or stories. Better like current stories, like backstories and up to now in the campaign, not just the backstory, but like a story of the character up to now. Love working with that. I get all these information about details and trinkets and things that I can include. And they're like, but I plan on, you know, they're like, I plan on something like publishing or writing a story based on this character later. I'm like, okay, well, if you want to use the art later for like something that's like commercial, then we'll have to discuss licensing fees for that. So just want to make sure that this is a personal project that you're asking for. Like, yeah. If I ever wanted to use this for a book later, I'd ask you to do this, and we'd like figure it out. I'm like, great. Like, but I need you to read the entire backstory. And I almost said, sure. I think I started saying, shh. And I said, shh, just a question. How long is the backstory? They said, it's not very long. It's a quick read. I'm like, I read slow. I read at a speaking pace. It's one of my greatest weaknesses in life. I read at a speaking pace. So just curious. how long is the backstory? They said, well, there's two things. I'm like, uh-oh. They said, the first thing is I'm going to need you to read the whole thing. It was like 120 something pages. And so I was already out at that point. But before I could say I was out, they said the second part of that was, and I need you to sign an NDA about it, that you won't spread it or leak it or whatever, or share it, because I don't want people copying my story. And it's funny because for either one of those reasons, I would have said no. So it's like, which reason do I want to say no to? Do I want to say no to the arbitrary NDA for your fucking OC fanfic for your D&D game? Or do I want to say no to reading 120 pages of your backstory? So I respectfully declined. I said, you know what? This sounds like a project that I think you want a very particular type of artist to work with you on. I read very slowly, and I, at this present time, am not signing an NDA for almost any reason unless I'm getting paid for it. And so obviously, if you want me to go under NDA for a project, that's basically making it a commercial project, which doubles the fee. And if they said they were going to double the fee, I would have done it. I would have done it. But they were like, oh, well, I'm not paying double for a commercial, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, then I can't sign an NDA for something unless it's a commercial project. So, too bad. And they're like, shucks. And then they never came to my stream again. And that was the last time I ever saw them. Yeah, and I got stories about this shit. I saw someone who's already decided they're going to commercialize this as well. Exactly. Is that, you know what, responsibly, like looking back, Peepo Evan, Steve, as soon as they said they wanted to commercialize it, I shouldn't have said we can talk about licenses later. I should just covered my ass right then and there and said, if there's intent to commercialize this, then I need to treat it like a commercial project right now, right this second. So yeah, it's like, well, they couldn't use it. And then like, what if they did use it? Then I'd have to like pursue them because I did the work, but it didn't have a contract. It's like, that would have been too messy. So what I should have done is, as soon as they said they had plans to commercialize it, I should have just said right then and there, sorry, you need to pay the commercial fee so I can like sell you the license to this work, you know, so that you can sell it yourself and make prints and whatever. So university teacher, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know what they did. I don't know. They had some fancy job or whatever in business of some variety, and I know they're European. They're from Germany, I think. I don't remember what they did, but yeah, I don't know, man. All right, I got an appointment I got to get to in 45 minutes. Oh my god. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Love design my characters with their story in mind, like putting a ton of peasant dress under piece metal armor if they started as a farm girl and throw in the adventure. I fucking love that shit, Silesian. I can't wait to do the character for you. This is gonna be really fun. So, yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's gonna be rad. Cool. Then I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is what, Wednesday? Yeah. All right. Wednesday we'll have a nice long juicy stream and have a great time doing some characters and rolling around playing some Imagination Dragon game or something. I don't know, man. You tell me. You're the boss, man. I'm your streamer, bro. You know, I play D&D with chat for fucking 4 hours. Start rolling dice. Get some characters together, bro. TPK your asses before the 2-hour break. Anyway, have a great rest of your day. Feel better, Greg. I hope the hand starts healing process quickly so that you maybe get some mobility out of it. +1 to hit. Greg got torn to shit by a dog, apparently. He told me earlier in the stream, so we're all sending him some love for that. Cool. Yeah. Wait. Announcements? If it's important, I'll think of it tomorrow. All right. See you guys later.
その